Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Sports 56 Middays is presented by FedEx. FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
We the North are now we the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
3-2. Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Let the good times roll. LSU sits on the throne of college football.
And this one is over. Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
Now, here are your hosts for Sports 56 Middays, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Land out in the countryside, lay back and smell the sun, warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends.
Good morning. Sports 56 Middays. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett in for Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy. Zach Boyd is producing the program. We're here in the Family Leisure Studios, Family Leisure 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And we have a loaded show for you. It looks like Greg and Eli will be back on Monday, and I will be back in my normal position producing the program then. But the Grizzlies are in action today. The season is on the line. If they win, they live to fight another day. If they lose, there's no promises. So at 11 o'clock, we're bringing in Joe Mullinax from Grizzly Bear Blues. He is the site manager over there to talk about the game today against the Bucks at 3 p.m. A lot going on in the world as well as far as college football goes. So the other guest we have today is Brian Fisher. He's a national college football writer for Athlon Sports. We are talking about the word fluid. The word fluid has been used and thrown around a lot in this COVID-19 environment, but there's a lot of uncertainty that he might have some answers on. Read some good pieces from him recently about what a spring season may look like, about what a fall season may end up looking like if it even happens. So we will talk to him at 12:25, but in between there we have just about everything to get to. NFL 3 for all. We have the Saints and Panthers today. 2.5 questions we'll squeeze in somewhere. And then at 12, I know this is everybody's favorite topic. Top 5 songs. Dark, or darker, whatever form of dark you would like to use. That is what we are using today. It must be in the title. As always, if you want to reach out to us, 67129 First Bank text line, 901-360-8255 First Bank phone line, and also watch us live and message us. We get a lot of Facebook messages with lists of top 5 songs, again at 12. But watch us live, message us, Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Drew, what's up, man?
Man, I'm doing well. It's pretty rainy outside coming down right now.
I was surprised. It wasn't supposed to be.
Top Mount Moriah.
It wasn't supposed to do that this morning, was it?
I didn't think so. But then again, how well can you really trust the radars? Especially the app on the phone is literally the
weather
worst.
app. Oh.
It is the worst.
It'll lie to you.
So the weather, while it's gloomy today, also ruined my night last night.
Why?
So I was set with a few friends of mine. We were going to go out to the summer drive-in for Bert Kreischer,
Yeah.
the comedian, the
Doesn't
machine.
Doesn't he have his shirt off like
yes.
the whole time he does
yes,
his
the machine.
stand-ups?
I was set to go.
I had a couple of buddies who went.
So the 7 o'clock show went off apparently great.
Okay.
I had tickets for the late show because it had already been sold out by the time I even found out about it last Friday. So I had tickets for the 10:45 showing. It gets to be about 9 o'clock.
Okay.
We're getting loaded up, getting ready to head out to Summer to get in line for when the gates open at 9:30. And as we're getting in the car, the buddy who bought the tickets gets an email saying that it's been canceled. So it ruined my night.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I didn't get to go.
It didn't get canceled,
10:45.
though, the 10:45.
10:45
okay.
show got canceled.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I was
man.
really excited.
I'm sorry.
He's
I'm
one of
sorry
my
to hear
favorite
that.
comedians right now, and I was really looking forward to hearing the machine story.
So
in person.
it's a drive. It was a drive-in, right?
Yeah. So basically, it was going to be 5 of us all piled up in a car and kind of just chilling in the bed of my buddy's truck and listening to the stand-up. You know, still having good social distancing. Obviously, we didn't have to be social distanced due to the fact that we rode together, but still had to wear masks if you were going to go to the concession stand and everything like that. So going to finally feel like some sense of normalcy in this pandemic for me last night, and the weather ruined it all.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
But
Mother
how
Nature.
normal is it to see a comedian at a drive-up situation? That's
Probably
not very
normal, but it's at least live entertainment.
Yeah.
It's something.
Live entertainment. That's what we're missing nowadays. And Lou Williams didn't miss that. But anyway, moving on. Let's start with college football because I think Peter and Sane did a fantastic job ending the show because, good God, man, Mike Norvell just – I don't know what's going on. Obviously, I was coached by the guy. I don't know what's going on at Florida State, but they do not seem to take a big liking to him. Florida State's wide receiver Warren Thompson posted a letter to Twitter, and it was complaining about the staff's treatment of their players. And within it, this is sort of what he said. It has been shown to myself and the rest that our leadership is based off an I mentality, with them only worried about their own future rather than their own athletes. I have been ridiculed about speaking up regarding this issue, and it needs to be addressed for myself to safely continue the season. I don't know what is going on in Florida State right now, but Mike Norvell must be just what is he doing to his players right now? I'm confused.
I'm very confused because like yourself and all the other guys that were coached by Mike Norvell, there was very few bad words to be said about him. And the fact that he hasn't even coached a game at Florida State, and there's already been multiple incidents where him and his players down there aren't meshing, and I'm sure that happens every now and then when you bring in a new coach and a completely new staff, and they're your players, but they're not your players. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't recruit them there. You didn't want them really in your program. I'm sure there's a lot of great athletes down there in Tallahassee for the Noles that Mike Norvell and that coaching staff is happy to have. But there can always be some butting of heads, but I'm just real shocked about this, of the kind of selfishness that his players are accusing him of, and the coaching staff only being out for themselves.
Now
that's the part that really confuses me, because when Mike was here, everything that he said publicly and mostly private that I was able to heard seemed to be a very team-oriented type of guy.
Now I'm not gonna even fake it at this point. I mean, I'm not overly surprised that they're taking exception to him coming in, because I remember, I was recruited by Justin Fuente, obviously, and by the time he got there, there's always going to be a resistance to change around a program. And when you look at Florida State's program, there's a lot going on in regards to trouble with the law, in regards to guys just not buying into a culture. And I can see where there's a lot of resistance to that. But this was a mom actually took to Twitter of one of the players and had this to say: "We need answers and we want the truth." And they tagged FSU football and Coach Norvell. "As parents and family members, we deserve to know our kids are safe. Weekly testing has not taken place, and many players have tested and yet told to remain silent. Silent no more." And look, this is happening around the country right now, where you have a lot of problems with testing, and I'm not going to name names. Drew, I told you this last night because I got some information from some guys that I know around the country. I know some guys in several places around the country, coaches, administrators, players alike. And there is a place in Tennessee right now that is playing football, so you can do the math. D1. It's a D1 place.
That's pretty much all of them right now, though. That doesn't really narrow it down.
No, I'm not trying to narrow it down. I don't want to name names. Again,
I got you.
Who says even if you have opted out, you are not allowed to be tested unless you show up to practice and participate.
That makes absolutely no sense.
I know. I don't understand it. Like, if you opted out and you're scared of the thing, you would think that they would go out of their way to at least try to help you get tested and put you through that. But this is going on around the country, and I think we need to find. There's not a lot of media around, so maybe this is sort of going to become, I don't know, normal, where they're making these rules and enforcing these rules that they wouldn't really make if there was a lot of public around.
Well, I mean, these rules shouldn't be made and obviously should not be enforced. I mean, you cannot ban a guy from getting tested and trying to stay safe just because he decides he wants to opt out and doesn't feel safe playing college football in this global and especially in this country environment that we're dealing with COVID-19 and to flat out say that, you know what, if you don't want to play, then you can't get tested. Like,
it's stupid.
That makes no sense.
What was the reason for opt-outs at that point? Like, why are we even having the it's garbage, plain up. It is complete garbage. If you are at a school or if you are a coach that enforces these rules, you're a joke. That's embarrassing. You cannot do that and single out players who've decided to opt out for their safety that they view as their safety. Now, they don't have to have the same opinion as you. We've seen that through this whole thing, right? Like, we have two different sides of this whole argument. One side says it's not that serious. The other side says it is. Now, like, I have been of the thought the whole time, I don't think we need to tell people how to feel about it. I don't think that helps anything. I think that completely makes it worse. But we've already seen Steve Adazio over at Colorado State get in trouble for this. And if the accusations here are true about Mike Norvell, this is before he has played a game, man. Like, he has got to reel it in. I understand, like, at Memphis, maybe you're not dealing with as much media pressure. But you've got to understand, when you go to a market like it is in Tallahassee, like those fans and how rabid they are, how rabid the media is around that place at Florida State, you have to understand that, and you have to act accordingly, and it just seems like he hasn't picked it up.
Well, I think coaches need to act accordingly regardless of where they are and how much trouble they think that they can get in with the public view of some of these rules. Like you said, Colorado State, I mean, when that came out last week, I was just like, wow, are you kidding me? We're in the middle of a global pandemic, and you're trying to sweep things under the rug? I mean, I guess I could kind of understand. I'm not even going to use the word understand. I can kind of see where some of these coaches and administrators are coming from, just due to the fact of the bottom line. Like, we have too high of a risk to lose too much money if we do not play college football. So we've got to do everything in our power to try to save the season, and that's just flat out wrong.
You can't lie about tests to try to save the season.
No,
at some point, somebody's going to speak up. Somebody's going to figure it out. And you can act as if there's, again, and I think this is weird because I got proposed this sort of thought by one of my buddies last night. Is like, do you think that a lot of this is happening because there's a lack of media presence right now to hold them accountable at their facilities? Or is it just something that they would have done?
Like, just due to the fact that nobody's actually
that no one's at the facility,
there.
that's no one's seeing them, no one's around, and it's Zoom meetings, and they don't know what to ask, and they're not talking to the players as much, and they're not able to see sort of the daily activities of some of these players. I was thinking about that. Maybe that is, but at the same time, I have a hard time believing that they wouldn't do the same thing if media are around. But it's bizarre that we have coaches right now that think it's even remotely okay. And obviously these are allegations. I'm not going to completely say someone's guilty or not guilty right this second. But these are some tough allegations from several players on the Florida State team, several players on the Colorado State team, the team in Tennessee I'm talking about. So I have a hard time believing that they're not at least being somewhat truthful about it.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm going to wait till I get all of the facts to 100% set my opinion and really tell how I feel about this, if it is true. Now, if so many players are coming out, I mean, the arrows are pointing to, yeah, this is really
Leadership.
happening. It's being true. I don't think it's just a ploy by a few of the players to try to get Coach that just don't like Coach Norvell and trying to get him replaced at Florida State. If these allegations are true, these are very serious allegations. I mean, we're already talking about the long-lasting health of players and actually just anybody in general with a heart condition that can develop later on after this virus that we've seen that a lot of doctors have said that this happens when you get the flu or some other type of viral infection. So we need to make sure that player safety and their health is the number one issue right now. And while I am on the mindset of Mike Oresco and a lot of these other commissioners that, hey, maybe it's a little too early to shut everything down. Let's wait. Let's see how the data develops and where the arrows are pointing. And when we get to the point where it's 100% we cannot play, if that is next week, if that is the literally 5 minutes before the first kickoff, if that's August or September 2nd for an American team and Mike Oresco has to pull the plug 5 minutes before kickoff, then he's got to pull the plug.
Yeah.
But we need to wait and have all the facts out there. And if coaches and administrators aren't giving those results, aren't giving those facts, then how can we make the right decision if we don't have all the numbers in front of us? And that's the frustrating thing to me, is that I'm all for playing college football if we're doing it the right way and the data shows that we can do it. But if you're skewing the data against me and against the actual fact of the matter of what's going on with this pandemic, with COVID-19, then I got a problem with that. I'm on board as long as you're being truthful with me and the real facts of the matter show that we can do this, then let's do this. But if you're skewing it, then like that ain't gonna happen.
So Bob Bowlesby, obviously the Big 12 commissioner, had and this is along the lines of what you were just speaking on, Drew. And I think I wasn't even going to bring this up today, but I think this is very relevant to what you were just speaking on. Mm-hmm. He said that reasonable people can disagree on it. He's talking about the cancellations and the numbers. The Pac-12 and the Big Ten are seeing much of the same information that we're seeing, but our board believes in our scientists and has come to a conclusion that it is different, and so have the leadership of the SEC and the ACC. He's trying to say that they're seeing the same numbers. Mm-hmm. They're seeing the same information, but the Big 12, the ACC, and the SEC have come to completely different conclusions. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe they feel like they don't have as many hot spots in their place, even though I know that's not true, or in their conference, even though I know that's not true.
I mean, ACC with a lot and SEC both play in Florida.
Yeah, you have Florida teams. So and
it's not like Texas is doing that well.
No idea what he's trying to refer to on that. He's just saying he wants to disagree. And I think there's something to be said about giving these players, these coaches, these administrators a chance to get it done. Like a chance to get it done. Like if they have the protocols in place and they are doing really well with their testing, then I guess give them a shot. But then again, I just get confused when you have a lot of the normal student population coming back. Mm-hmm. Like I think Notre Dame, and I know this is small what I'm about to mention, but Notre Dame had zero tests for ever, it seemed like, during their offseason program, and obviously they joined the ACC this year. Mm-hmm. But they have been 3 or 4 days into school. Now they have two positive tests. Now, I know that's not big, but it would be dumb to assume that wasn't because of the return of a student.
Between the two.
Yeah, you have to assume that it's because the student population returned and they're mingling and intermingling. They're next to each other. I don't know if they're wearing masks. I don't know how close they are to people proximity-wise in their classes. But it's going to be interesting going forward. I'm going to ask you an interesting question and 2.5 questions about this too. So we'll have to see.
Okay, I'm excited, but I think the best thing that you said out there was confusing, and that's realistically what all this is. It's confusing, especially when we know the fact that every college football conference, all 10 of them, they all seem to be sharing the same facts and the same results throughout all of them. So why did the Big Ten medical advisors and the Big Ten commissioner and the Pac-12 medical advisors and the Pac-12 commissioner and those presidents in both those conferences and in the MAC and the Mountain West, why did they see the same data, the same facts on paper as the Big 12, SEC, ACC, American Sun Belt all saw, and they just come to a completely different conclusion about it? And it's going to be interesting, really, how history views all this. You know, obviously, it's going to look for the conferences that have already canceled. It's going to go one in two ways: either they pump the brakes way too quickly and they missed out on playing 2020 college football, or they were ahead of the curve and they were ready. They saw they were able to kind of look into a crystal ball and see that things weren't going to get better and that they were only going to get worse. And it's just only time will tell how this whole situation will be seen.
So the Big 12, are they considered a academic conference?
I don't believe so. They have some decent academic institutions within their conference.
Because last time I checked when it was doing the whole alignment was that the whole reason the reason to get into the Big 12 is that you had to have a good academic standing. And so I'm thinking with the Big 12, since they supposed to be
every conference when you come to realignment time is going to have their
but my thing is
checklist items.
If you consider yourself an academic conference, one of the top conferences in all of academia, like you would think that, you know, you will be on top of this issue and will say, hey, this is probably not good right now. But who am I?
I mean, that just goes back to the reason why I hate Bob Bowlesley. Just all the stupid excuses to try to keep Memphis out when it was a done deal.
Yeah,
I think literally for the next year, anything bad happened in my life, I blame Bob Bowlesley. Like I stubbed my toe, and I blame Bob Bowlesley for it.
Same effect with Rob
Manfred.
Yeah, Rob Manfred.
I hate Rob Manfred.
I think he's doing. Hey, come on, Rob's doing a better job.
No, he's not.
So
he screws up.
We have to get to a break here. On the other side, we're gonna come back and talk about the sort of thoughts on a spring season. Me and Drew are going to give those to you. And also, we're going to talk a little bit of Grizzlies before we bring Joe Molinex, the site manager of Grizzly Bear Blues, on at 11. This is Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Check out Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference, like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Let's do it.
We're back. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett, Sports 56 Middays. Zach Boyd is producing the program. Make sure you stay here. We got 11 o'clock. Joe Molinak's coming in from Grizzly Bear Blues. We're going to talk some Grizzlies. They have a game today, do or die, more or less, against the Bucks at 3 p.m. And then 12:25, we're going to talk more college football with our man Brian Fisher with Athlon Sports. So yesterday there was a lot made. We obviously have the Big Ten, the Pac-12, the Mountain West, the MAC, all postponed. And they say postponed, and that means they want to play a spring season.
It's canceled more than last week.
Now,
I'll hear you out.
We'll get there. Now, they all want to play a spring season. They, the media had a Zoom meeting yesterday with Dabo Swinney, and what he had to say was, I think it'd be very difficult. And then also, Ohio State, the coach over there, Ryan Day, on a spring season, he had to say that the Big Ten could play in early January with an 8 or 9 game schedule, and even with postseason play in before the NFL draft. And that is his thought, his way of, I guess, trying to keep around the NFL prospects like his quarterback, Justin Fields, maybe?
Well, here's a big problem with this. Let's say that the SEC, ACC, American, Big 12, and all the other 6 conferences still left in college football. Let's say they do complete a fall season. Let's say we somehow are able to go about this and everybody plays 10 to 12 games and we are able to crown a champion. Who does Ryan Day and Ohio State think they are that they can still do postseason play? Like, are they realistically going to try to crown their own champion between the winner of the Rose Bowl gets to be national champions of 2020, 2021, or however they're going to phrase that season? And here's another thing about Ryan Day's plan, quote-unquote plan to play. Wants to start in January. You want to play football outside in January in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, Columbus, Ohio? You really want to go out and play football in the middle of January in Big Ten country?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Hey.
No.
Hey, snowballs, man.
There won't even be a problem about
Nothing
no
like
fans because nobody's wanting to go and freeze their butt off in negative 10-degree weather.
Nothing like a little football in the snow, Drew.
Once in a while, yes, but a full season? A full season.
I mean, they play in that cold weather toward the end of the year anyway.
But not January
When they
cold.
get into November and December.
There is a difference, man. There is a different type of cold. January cold is different than November cold.
I'll tell you from I lived in Chicago for a few months, and, yeah, that cold is different, man. That up north cold is no joke, man.
Think Northwestern wants to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about negative temperatures, snow that just will not stop. I have a hard time believing in general, though, with anybody, even if you were in warm weather, that a spring season can happen. You're talking about, 25, 26 games within 8 months. It just, I will tell you, being a former football player, that just does not, it's not feasible. It's not.
No, it's not.
I have played one season, and that's enough. I need 2 months after that one season before I even get back into a workout. It is tough, man. The amount of injuries you would have over that year are fine, but a lot of people will, it's not impossible. It's not impossible to get done. I know it's not impossible.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that are impossible.
But it's just
doesn't mean you should do it.
It's not smart.
Exactly.
Again, I keep hearing this argument about it's just not impossible, and that's not a good argument to me.
That's a terrible argument. I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't impossible that you can go and do right now. I mean, it's not impossible for me to rob a bank, but doesn't mean I should try. It might be a little bit of an exaggeration there, but I mean,
you gonna rob a bank, Drew? You need to tell me.
No, I'm not gonna rob a bank.
You struggling on money?
I could use the dough, but I'm not gonna do it. I mean, that's probably a little bit of an extreme example, but if that's your argument, just because it's not impossible doesn't mean it can't happen. Well, doesn't mean you should do it. And you're exactly right. I mean, the amount of injuries that would come out of this would just be catastrophic. I mean, really damaging to college football programs in the Big Ten and Pac-12 and maybe other conferences that decide that they might want to postpone and try to give it a shot in the spring. But the problem is, you would almost create a new normal because you could not ask anybody, you couldn't ask professional players to turn around and play 25 to 28 games in a matter of 10 months. Like, you just cannot do that. Football is a completely different sport. There's just way too much strain on the body for a body to take that many hits in that short of time. So the fact that the idea of spring football is even out there is ridiculous unless you want to move permanently to the spring.
Again, it's possible, Drew. I mean,
you're right.
It's
It's possible, so it could happen. I guess.
Again, I found it bizarre, and I understand that the Big Ten, Ryan Day is wanting to play, and he wants to have his guys involved. He wants Justin Fields to play another season for him. But I found it interesting that he spoke up and said it could be done early January, 8 or 9 game schedule. And again, postseason should end before the NFL draft. But then again, you have your questions about, the combine, pro days.
Yeah.
What happens with those? How do you schedule around that? And that becomes the biggest question is, will the NFL move their schedule? I'll tell you right now, they won't.
They won't.
They're not going to do it.
And they shouldn't.
It's the NFL, okay? They have shown with the draft, okay? They've shown with everything so far. They are not postponing. They're not doing anything to work on anyone else's schedule besides their own because they're the NFL and they make the most money in this country, and that's just how it is.
That's exactly how it is. And if you're asking some of these players to in these conferences that have postponed to try to play with only in January and they're 4 months away from getting drafted, no thank you. I'm not risking going out and playing in snow in January where it's much easier to tear and tweak something and cost me millions of dollars. Like, heck no, I ain't going out there and do it. And nobody should blame those guys for wanting to secure their future. Not only their future in the sport of football, but their financial future going forward that could pay for generations of their families. And for someone to think that that would be a selfish decision is just absolutely crazy. You cannot ask a guy like that to go out there and risk his financial future just so we can have football in the spring.
Heck, Drew, I thought it was weird that Justin Fields said he was not going to opt out. And I get that you love football and you want to play in the fall. I understand that, but it's just it's bizarre.
Justin, you're a top 10 pick, man.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
Same with Trevor Lawrence. And
he's the number one overall
I know
pick.
they want to
do it.
I know they want to play, and I get that. Look. I mean, if you're thinking long-term business decisions, this season probably ain't the smartest one to play for you. And especially if you're Trevor Lawrence, man, you won a natty. You have one loss in college. You have beat some of the best teams. You've had great statistics. Mm-hmm. You have done a lot.
You've
done everything except for win a Heisman. Maybe that's what he wants to do. Maybe that's in the books for him. But I found it interesting that we didn't get opt-outs from even bigger players. I know we got a lot out of the Big Ten, Micah Parsons, Rashad Bateman, a lot of first-round picks. Well, but I figured we'd have like a quarterback or two probably opt out of this season because they didn't want the risk.
Well, here's the one reason I think that we haven't gotten a lot of opt-outs from the Pac-12 or the Big Ten.
That's where we've gotten them from is the Big Ten. Pac-12.
Well, I mean, I'm talking like with Justin Fields, why he's not opted out. I just think that he 100% truly doesn't believe it's going to happen. I mean, he's like the rest of us looking at it, going, "There's no way this is going to happen. So why even opt out?"
No, he ain't thinking that, Drew.
There's no way.
You think that really?
There's no. He knows.
So you think he was thinking the whole time the Big Ten's going to cancel? So why would I opt out?
Exactly. I mean, why? Why would you opt out when you know it's not going to happen?
That's a thought. I just don't know if I buy into that.
It's not an impossible thought, Gabe.
It's not
impossible.
It's not. I just think he wanted to play. I really do. And he has.
He's not playing in January.
He has something to prove too.
What? What does he have to prove? He's a top 10 pick.
He's a top 10 pick, but at the same time, he's played 1 year.
And that 1 year he wasn't.
He didn't overly impress you through the air. He has some things to prove to some of the scouts. He's still going to be a first-round pick regardless of how you shake it up. It doesn't matter. But he had a little bit to prove to try to improve that draft stock is what I'm getting at.
You're top 10.
Okay.
How many teams in that top 10?
You want to be top 5?
Well, I mean, realistically though, how many of those teams are going to be wanting to draft a quarterback in the first round?
It's a good question. I don't know.
I mean, we saw a lot go in April. So how many of these teams are going to want to redraft a quarterback?
I think that yes, he didn't have much to prove, but he obviously has more to prove than Trevor Lawrence. He could have improved his stock with another year, maybe got a Heisman. Who knows? I don't think he opted out just because he knew the Big Ten wasn't going to play.
I mean, we can all agree that it's not going to happen. I mean, I will follow this chair if January comes around and they're playing football in the Big Ten and Pac-12.
January in the Big Ten.
I mean, I guess it could make more sense in the Pac-12. Just, I mean, far as weather-wise goes.
Could you imagine playing in Minnesota?
No,
in the middle of January. My Lord, that sounds horrible.
I mean, and then into February. I mean, remember all the reports from people of how cold it was for that Super Bowl up there a couple years ago. And that was played inside.
True.
That was played inside. So, we were just getting reports of how cold it was when they were walking from hotel to the mall.
The O-line, D-line sort of the processing here is usually don't wear sleeves because you're going to get hot and you're moving around a lot. But you do see a lot of O-linemen and D-linemen wearing sleeves.
Never.
Exactly my point. Like, you try to have this tough mentality. You're wearing sleeves. You're wearing layers in Minnesota in January. I promise you. You have no choice. But the big question that we've had about all this is, what does this do to eligibility? I promise we'll get to Grizzlies here after this. But what will this do for eligibility for players? And our good friend David Cobb had a really good article that sort of laid it out, and the NCAA Division I Council made some recommendations on what to do with eligibility. But this is all up to the board of directors, the Division I board of directors, to approve by August 21st. So this is not set in stone or anything. But these recommendations include extending the 5-year window for opt-outs and season cut short. So they're extending the 5-year window of eligibility for anyone who opts out or gets their season cut, like the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. Also, athletes should be given an additional season to complete their eligibility if 50% or less of the maximum allowed competitions are completed. In regards to football, this is if a school doesn't get through half of their season, if they start like the SEC, ACC, all these teams playing, or if an athlete contracts COVID-19 and has to sit out before halfway through the season, they would get an extra year. I think this is a step in protecting the athletes. I do think it complicates scholarship situations drastically, though.
I mean, that's been one of my biggest questions of, obviously Ryan Silverfield here at the University of Memphis has been killing it on the recruiting front, but what happens when the number? I mean, we've got to increase the number of scholarships, and then that increases the money of the budget on the athletic department when we're not making any money right now. So how realistic is the extension of scholarships? And for a guy like Brady White, I mean, is he going to be having to teach a class to stay eligible? I mean, the man's going to walk away with
Associate
a doctorate.
Professor Brady White.
I'd take that class.
Would you? What do you think he'd be teaching?
What would he be teaching?
What would he be teaching, yeah.
I don't know. What is it, all of his degrees in?
It's a good question.
I hope it's in X's and O's.
Yeah, you want to learn football from him?
Yeah.
Hey, that would be a guy who would take that class.
I'd take that class for
he's
sure.
a smart guy.
Like, read the box. You want to read the deep safety in the middle. You know, check to see if there's a man coverage, or it might be like a little zone on the back end. You know, just a little bit.
Football knowledge from Zach Boyd, everyone. Football knowledge from Zach Boyd.
Hey, listen, man. I can tackle some film, man. I haven't played a lick of football in my life, but I could tackle some film.
You've never played before? You never even played like Pee Wee or flag football or anything?
No, I mean flag football like once or twice, but not really like, you know, organized.
Not organized. So you were just like out there. It's like what do you call it in college? Intramurals. Intramurals, brother.
Yeah, but I don't think it was like intramurals like
field,
at
buddy.
10, 11 years old.
I was a king.
Were you, Drew?
I killed it.
You're not that fast. I've seen you run. Dude.
Hey, I got an arm.
Okay.
I was a QB.
You were?
And I was a deadly safety. If I got it, if I got back.
Yeah, deadly safety.
If I got back enough.
That is pulling a bunch of flags.
I got kicked out of a few intramurals for hitting people. For actually
that always cracked me
up.
Stuff. Yeah,
I got kicked out.
Going to my girlfriend's sort of co-ed the flag football things, and they used to truck each other. It was funny. Yeah. It was hilarious. See those little girls go after each other. that was really funny. But, yeah, we'll see what they do with these eligibility recommendations. They should probably approve them just to protect their athletes, but the NCAA has been known to do otherwise. So we will just have to keep our eye on that. On the other side, we promised you Grizz Talk before we bring on Joe Molinak, so we're going to give that to you right here on Sports 56 Middays.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm giving Jeb's Basement Renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to COO Dylan Miskowitz, who needed to hire a director of coffee for his company, Cafe Altura.
We would look through lots of applications for people who were not qualified. It definitely felt like we were looking for a needle in a haystack.
So Dylan started using ZipRecruiter and found his perfect candidate in a few days. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free.
We were very impressed with how quickly we had quality candidates apply through ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is a powerful tool in our hiring process.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/search. That's ZipRecruiter.com/search. ZipRecruiter.com/search.
Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Well, family and fun come together.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Let's do it.
Rolling right along. Thursday, August 13th, 2020. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett in for Greg and Eli. Today, Zach Boyd producing the program. As we promised, some Grizz talk, man. Grizz 1-6. In the bubble. Good. Playing the Bucks, 3 p.m. today. Here's the good news. Good news. No Giannis. No Giannis. He is out for
I
his
think we kind of figured that before the headbutt that he wasn't going to play.
Well, yeah, but now you know for sure.
Now we know for sure he's not. You're right.
Also,
we
Chris
also thought
Middleton.
Everybody from Boston wasn't going to play, and then we saw what happened.
Also, Chris Middleton's day today, Wesley Matthews day today, and Ersan Ilyasova is day today. So we'll see who they play, and this is going to dictate, I think, the whole thought process around Grizzlies fans. But no Giannis because of his headbutt against the Wizards and Mo Wagner. Now, let's go through it. There's a lot of different things that could happen, but I can tell you this. If they win, they are at least, and I say at least, the 9 seed. Now, if they win and the Blazers lose, they're the 8 seed. If they lose, they take the control out of their hands. They don't have any control if they lose. And truthfully, I think they'll probably miss if they lose, because if the Spurs or Suns win their game and the Grizzlies lose, they're in, Grizzlies out.
Yeah.
So
basically just win and control your own fate.
I mean, yeah, but then you'd have to win 2 times. You'll be in the play-in game. At least you'll be in the play-in game.
Which is not the playoffs, by the way.
I think was the it's not the playoffs?
It's not to me. I mean, I don't consider the wild card in baseball playoffs.
See, I was going to say, because I definitely consider the wild card game playoffs.
No. I mean, do you really consider the qualifying round for the Stanley Cup playoffs the playoffs? I mean, were the Preds even there?
Well, I mean, that's different. That's a COVID-19 thing.
I mean, so is this.
This is this, but I'm just saying, yeah, that is true. Never mind, man. You bust, but the wild card game is the playoffs, dude.
Not to me, no, because if you lose, you weren't even there. You just got to play 163 games.
Okay, whatever. So the truth of the matter is, if the Grizz win, they are in the play-in game. If they lose, that doesn't mean they're not in it, but the control
they're gonna need a lot of help.
Is completely out of their hands. Now, what do you think about the game tonight? If we have no Giannis, I gotta imagine Chris Middleton will likely be sitting. You would think he was day-to-day the other day. Wesley Matthews wasn't playing the other day. No, it says he will not play.
No,
Wesley Matthews will not play, and then Ersan Ilyasova is questionable. So what are we thinking today? I don't know what to say. You talk about the Grizz, they're 1-6 in the bubble. They have lost games so ugly. They haven't been shooting well. Grayson Allen, of all people, has been their offensive bright spot, which is just insanity to me. But the Grizzlies are hurt too. So a Bucks backup team versus the Grizz, I don't know.
I'd have to give anybody's guess Grizz on that.
Yeah,
one.
But I mean, anybody's guess is. I mean, Bucks are still a solid team.
I mean, yeah, it is still a solid team, but you would think that, without all those pieces that you just mentioned, that Ja Brandon Clark, Dylan Brooks, if he can not put up 40 shots today.
Good luck with that one, buddy.
And Grayson Allen and Giannis Valanciunas could get it done. You know, I'm not going to say that they're going to blow them out, but it should be, at least on paper, the easiest winnable game that they've had thus far.
Well, the first 3 games were against guys.
Very winnable. But
yeah, so I don't know. I just do not know at this point. And I think the last sort of 3 games of this whole thing were based on who the other team was playing. Unluckily, they got the Celtics the game before they sat everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the Celtics sat Jason Tatum.
Raptors
Kemba,
played everybody.
They got unlucky toward the end of this, and that was my big question going in was, are these teams going to play their starting 5? Are they going to play their all-stars, their good players? And it looks like tonight may be the only shot at that.
Yeah, it does. And honestly, I mean, the Grizzlies are lucky to, having gone 1-6 in the bubble, still having a shot. I mean, that's very lucky to even be in the position that they are right now. So hopefully they could get the job done, get the 9, possibly even the 8. The 8's still up there if the Grizzlies win and everybody else loses. So then you only got to win 1 game.
It's
not impossible.
I don't think any Grizz fan envisioned
it's not impossible, Gabe.
Winning 1 game in the bubble at this point.
I'm just gonna say outlandish things all day and just keep saying it's not impossible. Because if that's all we have to do to prove
like
a
the
point,
spring season,
if that's all we have to do nowadays to prove a point, then I'm just gonna say crazy outlandish things about sports all day and just say, well, Gabe, it's not impossible. I mean, it could happen.
Anything could happen, Drew.
Anything could happen. That is true. It's not impossible.
So, again, no Giannis. Grizzlies win. They're at least the 9 seed. And if the Blazers lose and the Grizz win, they're the 8 seed. But, again, we're in a weird spot. Obviously, this is a team who's already overachieved by being in the bubble. But that's not – I don't think Grizzlies fans wanted that. I don't think they envisioned
you definitely didn't envision 1-6. I mean, I think maybe I was a little too high on the Grizzlies horse, and I had them 5-3. Out of the 8. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I had them 5-3.
I flipped that around 3-5.
I had them starting out 3-0.
Well, here's the thing.
I had them starting out 3-0. Then I had them beating, I believe, Oklahoma City and beating the Bucks because of what we're going to see today at 3 o'clock of basically half the team not playing. So I had 5-3.
I'm definitely one of the guys who is not – there's a lot of people who say that the Grizzlies' injuries have been part of the reason they've struggled. And yes, but the first 3 games they had Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
They had him. So I have trouble giving them a full excuse. Obviously, I think the biggest loss that some people underplayed, some people were on board. Tyus Jones,
that's
man,
the biggest loss.
Needed him in that second group to be that guy, controlling, good turnover ratio, being very, very good, and just being efficient, and you haven't had that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing that you get out of Tyus Jones is that he's not going to turn the ball over.
The assist-to-turnover ratio is one of the best in the league.
I mean, he was actually put a lot of points on the board, but heck,
there was games where
losing it.
I mean, heck, there was games where he came out firing and was shooting the ball well, but again, losing him was very tough for that second group. They didn't have much leadership in that second group, and I think that's sort of the idea too with the team is they haven't had too much leadership. They have young guys who have to take on that role, and John Morant and Jaren Jackson, obviously Jaren hurt, but I don't know if those guys were fully ready to take on that challenge going into the bubble in a different environment. They're all young. I didn't know if they were going to be ready, and it certainly has looked that way. 1-6 through 7 games. Bucks today, 3 p.m. On the other side, we're going to talk to Joe Mullinax about what the Grizzlies need to do, what it will look like going forward, and how they will fare today at 3 p.m. But we'll be right back on Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
I'm giving Jeb's basement renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaston for Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with a streak-free guarantee. They clean gutters, do pressure washing and house washing. They can also clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. Locally owned and operated, insured and bonded. Get your free estimate today and ask for the Sports 56 discount. Call 901-424-4100 and leave the dirty work to Window Genie.
Football is back, and so is HBO's Hard Knocks. This season, for the first time ever, Hard Knocks will follow 2 teams, the Chargers and the Rams, as they make their way through training camp and prepare for the most unprecedented season in football history. Catch Hard Knocks Los Angeles, Tuesdays at 10 p.m. on HBO, and stream it on HBO Max. Be sure to listen to the official Hard Knocks podcast hosted by Peter Schrager every week. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe. Unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Periscope. Don't miss out on anything. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Hour 2. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett, in for Greg and Eli. We will be in here Thursday and Friday. If you want to join the show, 67129, First Bank text line, 901-360-8255, First Bank phone line. Before we get to Joe, here to talk some Grizzlies from SB Nation, Grizzly Bear Blues. I have to mention this, a college football note. Southland Conference, this is from Brett McMurphy. Southland Conference, a FCS conference, one of the few still playing. has postponed fall sports, including football, with the intent of competing in spring. However, interestingly enough, individual schools may compete in limited fall competition. That is in the Southland Conference. But without further ado, we're going to bring on Joe Molinax, the site manager for Grizzly Bear Blues. Joe, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm surprised that there's still FCS schools that are trying to get it in.
Ohio Valley. We have Tennessee Martin here, Tennessee Tech. We have a lot of schools here in Tennessee still trying to pull through, I guess, in the FCS.
That's interesting, and it really is such a measuring stick in terms of where we are in the country to kind of see where things have aligned and who's going to try and who's not.
Yeah.
2020 is crazy, man, and I wish everybody the best. I'm a football coach in my day job, so obviously I want people to be able to play, but there's just a lot of logistical challenges to trying to do anything, even at the college level, much less the high school level.
Yeah.
I know high schools are trying to play too. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coaching over at Germantown this year, Shelby County Schools, and they have the district has called a stoppage right now. They are in a deadlock right now, and they're not revisiting till September 7th. So again, I think a lot of this has been sort of passing off the baton to other people to make decisions, and we'll just see how it ends up. I'm not so positive they can get through a fall season. I'm not so positive they can get through a spring season. I just think we're in a weird spot right now, and with a bubble not being an option like it is in the NBA, I think we will have to just keep our eye on it and see what happens. But Grizzlies in action. Bucks, 3 p.m. No Giannis, which is good news. I don't know who else. I looked at their injury report. It looks like Wesley Matthews, Ersan Ilyasova might be out. Possibly Chris Middleton might be out as well. But I want to talk about the Grizzlies first. What do you think their biggest shortcoming has been besides the injuries in the bubble?
I was about to say, I mean, the number one thing is the injuries. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed, obviously, without having Jaren Jackson Jr., without having Justice Winslow, without having Tyus Jones. They just aren't – they were not really good enough to be anything better than the 8th seed anyway, right? Yeah. And to have all those guys gone has really exposed even more the weaknesses of this roster. I do think in a positive way, what it also has exposed is at least that your two cornerstones are set, right? Like John Morant is a cornerstone. He really displayed leadership. The way that he played against Boston, they lost by 15, but if John Morant wasn't playing, they would have lost by 50. And I think that's a testament to the way that he played the game and the way that he carried himself. His leadership was really impressive. And Jaren Jackson Jr., the same could be said about him before he got hurt. Mm-hmm. So I think that at least in terms of positives, you come out of this bubble experience, regardless of what happens today, knowing that you have two stars, potential superstars, especially Morant, to build around. That's a positive. But in terms of why they have struggled, I mean, it's a make-or-miss league, right? You can break down defenses. I know Peter Edmondson has done that. He's exactly right with the drop coverages on pick and rolls. There's all sorts of X's and O's that they could improve. But when you are the second worst three-point shooting team in the bubble, and so much of your team's success, especially your two best offensive options at this point, John Morant and Jonas Valanciunas, their strength is scoring around the basket. It's a pretty easy game plan to say that you're just going to collapse in the paint and make Memphis shoot, because if they're not able to hurt you out there, it's just a lot of long rebounds that lead to transition opportunities. The Grizzlies' defense, even when it is able to get set, isn't very good. But in transition, they're even worse at times, and it's a vicious circle or cycle in terms of not being able to find yourself in a rhythm. And because of that, the Grizzlies are where they are.
Yeah, Joe, and I couldn't agree more. I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, when you can't shoot from the outside, then obviously they're going to just collapse down low. And Grizzlies have got to figure out a game plan. And for leadership, obviously it starts with head coach Taylor Jenkins. What kind of grade would you give him thus far through the 7 out of the 8 games in the bubble?
Well, he's probably not going to get coach of the bubble, right? I think that's a new award that they're giving out. They announced, I think, today or last night. That's probably not going to happen. I do think that he needs to be graded on a curve. Imagine if Because Tyus Jones, Justice Winslow,
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson Jr., and people like to say Justice Winslow hasn't played a minute for the Grizzlies, you can't count him. That's not true. They had a training camp leading up to this for about a month where Justice Winslow was integrated into their schemes. They were counting on Justice Winslow to play. So even though he hasn't played a minute for Memphis, that still counts as a loss. I think it's fair to say that Jaren, Tyus, and Justice, if they're healthy, which obviously, especially with Winslow, is a big if, that's 3 of their top 7 or 8 players. So if you take 3 of the top 7 or 8 players away from anybody else, the Spurs, Portland, the Suns, anybody that's in this mix, there's going to be some real problems for that team too, regardless of who the coach is. So I think you need to grade them on a curve when it comes to that. But when it comes to holding a player like Dylan Brooks accountable for not playing to the standard, one of the nice things, and I put nice in air quotes, with the media availabilities all being digital, I live in the D.C. area, I'm able to do media again. I haven't done media consistently since 2014, and I lived in Memphis. So it's been nice to do that again. And every day you hear Taylor Jenkins talking about the standard of play, being unselfish, playing with pace, the Grizzlies standard. Dylan Brooks has not lived up to anything that Coach Jenkins, except for maybe effort. I think Dylan plays his tail off most of the time. But aside from that, he has not lived up to that standard, and yet he continues to be a vital piece in terms of playing time on the roster. Now, his hand is forced because of those injuries, but at the same time, you've got Grayson Allen, you've got DeAnthony Melton, you've got guys like John Conchar, Josh Jackson. John Conchar and Josh Jackson probably aren't as good as Dylan Brooks, but at least, especially in the case of Conchar, you're going to get a guy who's going to play to that standard. In the case of Josh Jackson, he's going to create some chaos. He might do some knuckleheaded things at the same time, especially in the half court, offensively and defensively. But that's what Dylan Brooks is doing right now. So it gives you a chance to, at least in the long run, if you want Dylan Brooks to play to your standard, you can hold him accountable. I don't think that that's been done consistently, and I think that's a fair critique of what Coach Jenkins has done. There's some X's and O's things, too, that, the adjustments, the challenge stuff, although I think he was right with the Dylan Brooks foul to not change that. He probably would have lost that challenge. But there's been other ones that have been closer, and it really is something where we have to keep in mind, and I wrote about this yesterday. Taylor Jenkins, I think, is the second youngest head coach in the NBA. He is the youngest coach in the NBA bubble right now. He is learning on the fly like a lot of his players are. And I think that a lot of this is going to be a welcoming experience for him. And my biggest takeaway from this bubble experience with Taylor Jenkins is how he has really thrown himself into the social justice stuff that is so passionate for the players, right? The racial equality, multiple press availabilities. He's begun talking with, like, this day in history with racial inequality, talking about the voting stuff that the Grizzlies are going to do. To me, that really kind of stands out as him showing that he's not just listening to his players, he's hearing them. And he's trying to learn and grow as a leader for them in an area that obviously they're very passionate about. So I think that in the long run, this is going to be an extremely valuable experience for Coach Jenkins because, like we have to remember with John Brandon, Coach Jenkins is a rookie too.
Yeah. One of the criticisms you just brought up, and I definitely think it's sort of warranted. A lot of people on Grizzlies Twitter have certainly let their voices be heard about the use of Dylan Brooks or the overuse of Dylan Brooks in that capacity. But Josh Jackson is another thing. Is the thought process that he's not going to be a part of the team going forward, so Taylor Jenkins is not going to use him in the bubble, or is there something else that we're missing?
That may be part of it. I think that the biggest thing with Josh Jackson, and we have to keep in mind when he was having his greatest success before the season was suspended, it's not like Memphis was, destroying the NBA, right? I think there were 4-4 in those 8 games. So while Josh did some good things, and I don't want to discredit that, at the same time, if you watch the games, and I know you guys have and others too, but if you go back and rewatch, like I mentioned, he's elite in transition. There's Per Cleaning the Glass, which is a statistical website for basketball. When it comes to transition, he's in the top 90th percentile or higher in just about every category playing transition basketball, which obviously is where John Morant thrives, DeAnthony Melton. But beyond that, when the game gets into the half court, he's a big gambler defensively, which When it pays off, he looks awesome. He gets a steal. It's like Tony Allen back in the day. But where the comparison to Tony Allen ends is in half-court defense, because TA could lock down anybody in a half-court set. Josh Jackson is not quite there yet, and that's not to say he couldn't eventually be. He's still young. But I think it's a combination of what you just said with him probably not being here long-term. I do think that when we talk about that Grizzlies standard in terms of beyond the transition play, Josh doesn't consistently live up to that. So the fact that Dylan will likely be here next year and Josh will not, if coach is having to make a choice, he's probably going to ride it out with Dylan Brooks. And I guess you could make the similar argument. I know Konchar's played a little bit, but Konchar's on a two-way contract. You don't know what's going to happen to that next year. They're going to bring him back, that sort of stuff. So I think that he truly is limited in what he wants to do on the wing because of the injuries. But at the same time, at what point you're 1-6 regardless. Like, at what point do you at least take the long-term view of trying to, again, hold Dylan accountable? But at the same time, it's not as simple as, okay, we're going to bench Dylan and he's not going to be a starter anymore. He's going to be a sixth man, which a lot of folks, myself included, feel is his best playing situation moving forward anyway. Like, on the next great Grizzlies team, Dylan Brooks is probably not a starter. He's probably a reserve. But if you do that now, you lose whatever good Dylan Brooks would bring to you more than likely. Like, if you think he chucked before, if you're going to bring him in as a reserve, he's probably going to do that all the time. So at least as a starter, you know that he mentally is going to be engaged. Even if it's not the type of engagement you want, at least if good Dylan shows up, he has the capacity to help you get leads and even grow upon or build upon them, as we've seen in sparing moments. But we've seen it at least some in the bubble, and we definitely saw it before the season was suspended.
Yeah, Joe, we know that the talent is there, that he has the ability to get it done. Just are the shots going to fall, and is he going to be able to get it done? Kind of looking back, and I'm not – when I ask this question, I'm not saying that this trade shouldn't have been done, but because obviously the Grizzlies traded for Justice Winslow for the future. How big of a difference do you think it would have made in this bubble if we had never made that trade?
Well, I think that you'd be looking at a team, Taylor Jenkins, in terms of having a disconnect of leadership at times when it comes to that accountability. Jay Crowder will hold you accountable, right? And you will not find a more vocal critic of what Jay Crowder was as a member of the Memphis Grizzlies than me. Like, I think he's one of the most overrated Grizzlies in the history of the franchise. Because he shot 29% from three when he was here. Mm-hmm. Like, he shot worse than DeAnthony Melton from three. And nobody wants DeAnthony Melton to keep chucking shots.
No.
But Jay Crowder launched more threes than anybody else on the roster while he was with the Grizzlies and shot 29% on them. So
leadership, Joe.
Leadership. Mm-hmm. And that's fair in this moment. Like, right now, in this unfathomable situation that we find ourselves in the bubble, that is a relevant point. But none of this was expected when that trade was made. And I think that needs to be kept in perspective. You mentioned how Winslow was a trade for the future anyway. That's a very fair point, and I agree with that completely. You miss Jay Crowder right now. And again, I say that as someone who did not value Jay Crowder as a Grizzly as much as many others did. He would have been valuable in terms of his leadership. But to look at Miami Heat Jay Crowder, who I think is shooting something like 44% from three, that guy wasn't in Memphis. He didn't play for the Grizzlies. So you can't compare the two and say, oh, gosh, if we had Jay Crowder, we'd be making threes. No, we wouldn't. We would be shooting the same exact percentage, if not a little bit worse, at least going off of the data that we have based off of what Crowder was as a Grizzly. But when it comes to that leadership, the ability to stand up to Dylan Brooks or something along those lines, I think that's probably fair to say. But we had no way of knowing that they would be in this situation for that to actually have to happen.
Grizzlies and Bucks, 3 p.m. today. No Giannis. Now, it's been interesting, too. A lot of, Grizzlies Twitter gets into the conspiracy theories at times about, the Celtics are now sitting their top 6 players the game after they played the Grizzlies, and it didn't really make a difference on their standing in the Eastern Conference for the most part. So I could see where people get with that. But no Giannis today. I'm not asking for a full projection, but what do you think about the matchup for the Grizzlies without Giannis in that Bucks lineup?
Well, I think people need to keep in mind that just because Giannis isn't playing, and even if they sit Middleton and those other guys, the Bucks' second unit isn't bad, guys.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to be the best team in the NBA and have a bad reserve unit. So if you think Milwaukee, even if they sit all their starters, if you think the Bucks are just going to lie down and you're going to be able to win this game by 30, given the way that the Grizzlies have played in the bubble, you're kidding yourself. That's not really a place that you can find yourself in terms of thought. I do think that Memphis has obviously a lot more to play for than Milwaukee does. I do think it's an opportunity for them for the first time to be in a place where they can take advantage of a team that is going to lighten the load a little bit. I would expect to see those starters play, but I don't think they'll play long, and I definitely don't expect them to play the second half. I think you'll see a lot of, George Hill. I think he'll probably play a decent amount. You've got players that are going to get minutes, especially in that second half, that theoretically speaking, the Grizzlies should be able to defeat. But it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be a blowout. At least it on paper shouldn't be. Even if Memphis gets the Bucks skeleton squad, they have enough talent where they can make it interesting if the Grizzlies don't come to play. If Memphis plays the way they did against the Thunder, especially in those last three quarters, the Grizzlies will win and they'll make the play-in, and we'll watch the Portland game this evening and see if it's them as the 8th seed or the 9th seed. And we'll get ready for, I believe, Saturday is when the play-in game would be. That can very realistically happen. Even if they play everybody the way that Boston did, Giannis is the straw that stirs the drink. Defensively, offensively, he does a little bit of everything for them. And I think in terms of PER, I saw on Twitter, I wish I remembered who said it so I could give the credit, but he just finished, because of the suspension, the most, PER-wise, the most statistically dominant season in the history of the NBA. Like, when you pass Wilt Chamberlain for something, you're a dominant force.
Oh, yeah.
So Milwaukee losing him is definitely going to impact them, and hopefully Coach Bud does Coach Jenkins a favor, his mentee, and sits the rest of these guys at least somewhat. But Memphis is going to have to play well. If the Grizzlies come out and play as poorly as they have at other points in the bubble, they're going to lose, and they're going to hop on a bus to go to the airport tomorrow probably because of the uncertainty of the rest of the game. So Memphis they're in a spot where they hopefully show up. This is a great experience for them in terms of what kind of mentality are they going to have coming out of the gate. If it's not an aggressive one, if they're not getting to the basket, if they're not kicking out to open shooters, and obviously those shots have to fall, but they have to be rhythm shots. It can't be pull-up jumpers off a quick screen like Dylan Brooks has been shooting lately. It has to be in sets. It has to be coming off of screens with your feet set. There's a good type of three and a bad type of three, and Memphis has taken too many of the bad types to really get going. Hopefully they recommit to finding themselves in open spots and good rhythm in this game, and committing to the defensive end is a big part of it too. Defense leads to offense a lot of times, especially when you're a transition team like the Grizzlies are.
Yeah, Joe, let's just say the Grizzlies do end up getting the W today, and things fall their way. They're obviously they get the W. They're in the play-in. What is your confidence level that they make it out of the play-in and get the 8th seed and play the Lakers 1 through 10?
It's entirely dependent on whether or not they're the 8th seed going into the play-in. If Portland wins tonight, let's say the Grizzlies win this game, because they probably, if they play the way they did against the Thunder, a team that remembers the Thunder were missing Steven Adams, they had a couple other guys out. Schroeder, I don't think, played that game. And because of that, Memphis took advantage and they ran away with it. That is possible. So let's say the Grizzlies win, and let's say Portland wins. That means Portland's the 8th seed. I don't see the Grizzlies beating anybody twice. It took them 2 weeks to get 2 wins if they win today. They're not going to win 2 games in 3 days against Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. However, if Portland for some reason loses today and, Phoenix wins or the Spurs win, Memphis is able to get back to the 8th seed, I would say the exact same thing except for maybe the Suns because they've been so hot. I don't necessarily see anybody beating anyone 2 games in a row among this group of teams, Memphis, Phoenix, San Antonio, and Portland. Now, again, the difference might be Phoenix. They've been playing so well. They've obviously won 7 in a row going into the games today. But I struggle seeing anybody winning 2 in a row. So I think that 8th seed advantage is so key. And I think that in the long run, Memphis makes the play-in, Portland wins, they're the 8th seed. That overtime loss to Portland in that very first game is going to be the game that we all come back to and say, if they had gotten that one. because that would have made Memphis the 8, Portland the 9, and that would have led to the Grizzlies, again, having to be beaten twice to get knocked out of the 8. I think the most likely scenario is both Portland and Memphis win today. Portland will be the 8. Even if the Grizzlies get one win in that play-in, that means that they're going to have to beat Portland twice. And I believe in John Morant. I think this team's future is very bright. But given the current structure of how things are, I don't see anybody beating Lillard twice, except maybe the Lakers, of course, in the first round. I don't think anybody, San Antonio, Phoenix, or Memphis, can beat Portland twice in a row if that's what it comes down to.
Joe, before we get you out of here, I do want to ask you about that possible Blazers-Lakers matchup. Blazers back healthy, right? During the season, they were without Yusuf Nurkic, had some issues down low, didn't really have a guy to come in, get some rebounds, play good defense down in the post. What do you think about that matchup? We're talking about a team in the Blazers who is coming off a year where they were in the Western Conference Finals. Now, granted, they got swept, but what do you think about their chances against the Lakers? Is this a scary thought for the Lakers to have to deal with that 1-8 matchup?
I think it's fair to say that they would be a better team to play the Lakers and the Grizzlies at this point, given all the injury concerns. I think if Memphis somehow finds their way back into the playoffs, it's probably going to be a sweep against the Lakers, even with all the offensive issues that LA has had. But you're exactly right in terms of Nurkic being a real force, especially defensively. But on the offensive end, too, of course, he's a passer, he's a shooter. He does a lot of things well for them. Having Collins back helps, too. Carmelo has been better on the wing than I think a lot of people thought he would be. Give credit to him. Melo at the 4 really is where he kind of revitalized his offense and reinvigorated his career. But him moving back to small forward and Portland not being completely cooked by that has been impressive. It starts and ends with Damian Lillard. When you score 60 points, you're the guy that is the reason that the team won. And I think that the fact that the Lakers, unless they put LeBron on him, they don't really have anybody that can stop Damian Lillard. Rondo, I think, is coming back from injury. Avery Bradley isn't there, period. And it's not like those two guys, are world beaters defensively. I think that they're going to have to throw the kitchen sink at Dame to try to limit what Portland can do and make other guys beat them. I think the Lakers will still win that series. But if you were to say, will the Lakers sweep the Trailblazers? If it comes to that, no. I think Portland at least gets 1 or maybe even 2 from LA in that particular case. So of all the teams that the Lakers could see at this stage, I think they most prefer to not see the Trailblazers because at least Portland would put a scare in them because they have the best player of all those guys in Damian Lillard. He's a superstar, and you can't shut down superstars. You can only hope to contain them.
Yeah, and he's been just absolutely refusing to lose.
He's the MVP of the bubble.
Yeah, he's been refusing.
No doubt about it.
Refusing to lose. The other night was absolutely insane, the 61-point game. But he is Joe Mullinax, at Joe Mullinax on Twitter, the site manager of SB Nation's Grizzly Bear Blues, also hosts a podcast, Grizzly Bear Blues Live. Joe, thanks for joining us, and stay safe.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. Enjoy the games. Go Grizzlies.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Joe.
See you, Joe. Joe Mullinax. On the other side, we're going to come back with a little bit of NFL news. Then we have the NFL 3-for-all. You can get those lists in via message at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram, or 67129 at the First Bank text line. The teams we're doing today are the Saints and Panthers. One with a long history.
Steelers.
What?
I thought we were doing Steelers today.
No, sir. Saints and Panthers.
You texted me Steelers, I swear.
I didn't, but you can say what you want, buddy. I promise.
You did say Saints.
Yeah,
That's on me.
Sure
That's
did.
on me.
Saints
okay, then I gotta get another list together real quick.
Hey, Saints shouldn't be too hard, man.
No,
Saints
it's
and Panthers. We'll come back on the other side with our NFL 3-for-all right here on Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab stuffed shrimp, pan-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of fresh Angus beef, hand-cut steaks and burgers, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse. Dine-in, curbside, and delivery. Plus, enjoy the sizzle of top-quality Butcher Shop steaks on your own grill. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway. Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Family and fun come together.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Rolling right along. Hour 2, 11:30 is the time. Joe Molinax just joined us to talk some Grizzlies. Very, very insightful stuff from Joe. We're going to have our NFL 3-for-all with the Saints and Panthers here in just a second. Just to lay out the rest of the show, we'll probably get 2.5 questions at the end of this hour. 12 o'clock is our top 5 song segment. Dark, Darker, Darkness is the theme for today. It must be in the title. And then at 12:25, we're going to get back to college football with our friend from Athlon Sports, Brian Fisher. Now, I want to, real quick, before we hop into the NFL 3-for-all, get to a couple of NFL news notes. One, very sad one, Howard Mudd, the longtime offensive line coach of the Colts. He was with Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday and on those teams from 98 to 08. He has died. His family announced Wednesday. He had health struggles following a motorcycle accident. He was 78. He was a legendary player turned O-line coach. And you know how much I appreciate people with a bunch of knowledge along the offensive line. And he was a ringleader as far as having knowledge on that front. And he coached from 74 to 2012, most recently with the Eagles. Rest in peace to Howard Mudd, a absolute innovator along the O-line. And he will be missed by several people involved in a lot of the teams he coached. Now, moving on from that, we have the Cowboys, man. Did you see what they did yesterday?
Yeah, I saw the remarks from. I'm guessing you're leading towards the remarks.
No, well, first I want to start. We'll get to the remarks. I'm going to have that queued up. But while Jerry Jones was breaking his silence on the kneeling stuff, I will say, the Cowboys picked up defensive end Everson Griffin. As we know, he's been an all-pro. He's been a Pro Bowler with the Vikings for years and years. But that D-line now is stacked with pass rushers. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, Everson Griffin, Gerald McCoy, Alden Smith, Tyrone Crawford. And then, if he is reinstated, you're going to have Randy Gregory, who, of course, got kicked out due to the substance abuse policy. But the Cowboys are looking like a scary. They are a scary sight in the NFC East if you're an O-line.
And if we all put on our mask right now, we can have a chance to watch them in action.
Right. Thank you.
Please.
PSA.
Please.
PSA.
For the sake of me.
If I don't wear a mask, can I not watch the Cowboys?
You have to.
I don't want to.
But
you don't want to do what?
Watch the Cowboys.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wear a mask. Come on.
No, I mean, I'm going to wear the mask. I mean, not bad, but I'm going to continue to do that.
Now that we're talking about masks, just know that text lines are going to blow up.
I got to watch CD Lamb in a Cowboys uniform. I have to watch
this D-line, man. I'll tell you this, though. These guys are all 30-plus, except for Randy Gregory. But if this was the year 2017, this would be like the whole Pro Bowl team on their D-line. I mean, Good God. They are chock full of pass rushers this year. So we will see what happens there. But Jerry Jones, at the same time that Everson Griffin was being picked up, broke his silence. And he has caught a lot of flack for being quiet in regards to social justice and kneeling after his stance in the past where he threatened to bench players for kneeling. This is what Jerry had to say.
The key word about your question, David, is a word called grace. Grace. That was then 2 years ago. This is now. We have had very, very sensitive times. I don't need to share that we're also embroiled in a very other sensitive time with the challenge and the war, literally, we're on with the virus. These are very sensitive times. I have nothing to prove as far as where I'm standing with the flag and where the Cowboys stand. I have nothing to prove regarding my players and my support of our players. What I do want to show and want us all to be a part of is a word called grace. Grace. Not only grace in our actions, but grace in our understanding where they're coming from. I want our players to understand the perception and where they're coming from regarding the flag and the sensitivity there and the many memories there. And I want our fans to understand and better do because of what's gone on over the last few months. And want them to understand where our players are coming from there. And they do not feel like that the ones that want to basically do that, kneel, they do not feel like they're dishonoring the flag.
Now, the one thing I want to focus on here is the fact that Jerry said that he doesn't have anything to prove in regard to his stance. I would beg to differ. I mean, this is the time in 2016, 2017, you said you would bench players. You threatened to cut players for taking a knee. So I think that the questions to Jerry Jones about this are fair. Now, did he sort of put together some words there that made it seem as if he definitely has his players' interests in mind? Yes. But at the same time, I do think, without question, Jerry Jones had something to prove in regards to his stance on his players kneeling.
Yeah, I thought that while there were good points in his explanation in what we just heard, I thought it was very middle of the road type of comment.
I mean, but here's the other thing. Did you expect it to be anything but sort of a word salad, more or less, from Jerry?
Honestly, I expected more of Jerry to double down on his views that had been late that he showed in the past. And, obviously, and I think he kind of did that more in what he didn't say than what he did say. I mean, he talked about grace, and that is something that, regardless of what side of the argument of this debate that we are going through about the national anthem and everything going on in our country is something that everybody should have. You should have grace and understanding for those people as human beings and as members of your community, that they don't view the same way that you do. That doesn't automatically make them bad people. They just share views differently than you, and you still need to show those people with respect. But it seemed to me that what he was saying in there, underlining that he said the players need to understand where their kneeling is going to stand, basically saying that don't expect that everybody's going to be on your side. Do not expect that there isn't going to be any backlash for it. That's what I read into it, that he was basically saying that.
But that's abundantly clear. I mean, of course, not everyone's going to be on your side.
I mean, we saw it last night in the start of the new MLS season with FC Dallas and Nashville SC getting booed. Fans booing players for taking a kneel, and FC Dallas players coming out after the game saying we didn't even want the anthem to be played. We asked them not to even play the anthem.
Yeah.
So therefore, when they push our hand and play the anthem, we as a league and as a team, and even talking with Nashville before the game, we did what we were supposed to do, and therefore they felt it was disrespectful to be booed in their own stadium. And I think Jerry basically said, don't be surprised if it happens.
Yeah. So we have special guest here. Peter Edmiston wants to chime in here on Jerry Jones. Obviously just got off from Sports 56 Mornings with him and Anthony Sane. Peter, what you got to say? We got some Jerry Jones comments.
Fellas, no, this is Jerry.
Oh, it's Jerry?
Hey, Jerry.
Peter told me to get Jerry to call in. Fellas, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Oh, I hear all you guys talking about what I'm saying to this guy and that guy, but you got me on the phone line right now. Why don't you ask me to my face? Everybody understands the Cowboys.
So what were you trying to say yesterday? What was the main message?
Gabe, shut up. I was trying to say grace. Grace. You understand grace? Before we eat, every time we say grace. Before we eat Cowboys. Before we go and get everybody in that Cowboys stadium, we're playing in front of all our fans. By the way, I can tell you that much right now. We say grace. Grace is the word of the day. Grace. You want to kneel before the anthem? You better say grace.
Hey, Jerry, you better take it easy, man. You better take it easy calling into my show telling me to shut up.
Hey, shut up, Gabe. Hey, I'm on a yacht, Gabe. You shut up. I made more money in talking to you in 5 seconds than you're going to make the rest of your life.
Oh, that's enough,
that.
Jerry.
That's true,
See you, Jerry. Get out of here, Jerry.
Oh, Jerry.
Golly, man.
Trying to hijack
Jerry
our show.
needs to take it and get out of here, man. I can't deal with that. I cannot deal with that. Dang it, Jerry. But now we have a little bit limited amount of time, but let's get to our NFL 3-for-all. Zach, go ahead and hit the music. Now we have the Saints and Panthers. We have one team with
no particular order, right? Like you could just I don't have to rank
no particular order. No particular order. Now we're going to start with the Saints. They have a long line of a lot of players who could have made this list. Panthers not so much. Zach, do you have a list?
I do have a list.
Let's go ahead and start with you.
Okay, well we're starting with the Saints.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so this one was a difficult for the Saints because I don't really pay attention to the Saints a lot. But my
so
first
Cowboys or nothing.
Yeah, well, not necessarily Cowboys or nothing here, but definitely most of my eyes are on the Cowboys. But my number one player is Drew Brees. Easily have to be Drew Brees. He's pretty much Mr. New Orleans down there ever since he stepped foot in the city. Number two is the defensive end Will Smith. I don't know if you remember.
Ooh, interesting one. Okay.
I don't know if you remember the former defensive.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, like he was just a terror off the corner.
That's a very, very, very interesting pick.
R.I.P. to Will Smith, man. That was tough to swallow, hearing about his death.
Yeah.
And then my last player is Marquise Colston. Like you got to pair Breeze and Colston together because they were right now besides Michael Thomas, Colston and Breeze was that tandem that you want in your lineup.
Yeah, you seem to go. You're going a little more modern day. Drew, you go ahead.
All right. So obviously, number one, like Zach said, it's got to the first one out of the gate's got to be Drew Brees. What he has done in his time in New Orleans is just incredible, from the records that he's put up to the wins, amount of playoffs that he's gotten them to. I mean, heck, won him a Lombardi trophy last decade. So Drew Brees is definitely number one. And then you got to go with Mr. Saint. I mean, the one of the first real, as far as I can remember, I mean, right off the top of my head, you got to go with Mr. Saint, Archie Manning, one of the first real good dual quarterbacks, able to keep plays alive and basically run around, because honestly, that's the only way he stayed alive with some of the offensive lines that he had in New Orleans. So Archie Manning's got to be number two. And I'm going out of the box. I think it might be on your list, Gabe, but I doubt it. I'm going to go with Morton Anderson, the kicker, Mr. Automatic.
That's fair.
6-time All-Pro Bowl.
Very fair.
NFL 1980s All-Decade team, 90s All-Decade team. I mean, the dude was a stud.
Now, while I think you guys went a little more modern day with it, I definitely went Drew Brees. Well, yeah, that's that. Okay, never mind. He went
Morton Anderson from the 80s and
90s. My guy Zach went modern day. I went a mix here. I went Drew Brees, of course, leader in passing yards and TDs. I mean, we don't talk about him being a GOAT of sorts, but he literally leads. He leads. I mean, how often does it happen where you're the quarterback who leads in passing yards and TDs all time, and you're not talked about as the GOAT? But he's an all-time great, future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl, All-Pro, Pro Bowler, great humanitarian, has done a lot for the city of New Orleans. So Drew Brees is first. But then my two are completely different than you guys. And I went O-line here, Willie Roaf.
Of course you went O-line.
Hall of Famer. Well, Willie Roaf is iconic, man.
Yeah,
iconic with
he was
the
close.
Saints.
He was close to getting in there.
189 starts, Hall of Famer, Pro Bowl 11 out of 13 years, 4-time All-Pro. And what I remember about him is, if you go back and watch a film, he was a road grader in the run game. Just insane in the run game. So I went Willie Roaf here. And then Ricky Jackson, I'm surprised both of you. I think it's kind of blasphemous, to be honest, that you guys both left him off. He leads the franchise in tackles, sacks, forced fumbles. He went to 6 Pro Bowls, 6 All-Pro selections, and he's in the Hall of Fame. It's hard to not go Ricky Jackson.
I wanted to go Morton Anderson.
Are you serious?
Who?
Turn off that mic if you don't know who Ricky Jackson is. I can't. Nah. Come on, man. Ricky Jackson.
Like, no shade. I just know.
All-time linebacker, defensive end, fantastic player for the Saints in the 80s and 90s. I don't know how you guys left him off. But now, I'll start with the Panthers. I went Steve Smith to start. 5 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros, 2005 Comeback Player of the Year, 8 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He was a loudmouth. Don't get it twisted. But in my opinion, there's a difference between a loudmouth and a fun loudmouth. I think he was a fun loudmouth. Very
fun.
Randy Moss was another one who I thought was a very fun loudmouth.
Not so much fun loudmouth would be like Chad Ochocinco.
Yes. Terrell Owens had his moments. We'll see. But Luke Kuechly is my second. Shame his career was short. He's already retired. But that's the life of a middle linebacker in the National Football League. 7 of 8 years was in the Pro Bowl. 5 of 8 years was an All-Pro. And this is crazy to me. Averaged 136 tackles a season. Had at least, the least amount he had was in 2016, tackles-wise, 102. But he only played 10 games. He had ridiculous intelligence and instincts. So Luke Kuechly gets my second spot. And then my third, I wanted to put Cam Newton, I have to say. But Julius Peppers gets it for me. 9-time Pro Bowler, massive athletic human being. I would hate to be a tackle trying to block him off the edge. He was scary as hell for opposing O-lines. All-Pro 3 times. And in the end of the day, to be an edge rusher with a 17-year career, I got to give my cap to you. Julius Peppers is my third.
I'm going to go pretty quickly just because I know we're up against the break. So I'll go. I had 2 of yours. I had Steve Smith and Julius Peppers. I did have Mr. Superman himself, Cam Newton.
Yeah,
because,
I wanted to put him on.
As influential as he was for that franchise and getting them to that Super Bowl, that MVP season, I mean, just incredible. I mean, it was putting the Panthers logo on every commercial, every billboard across the country as far as advertisements that he was able to bring in for that franchise and basically be the face of the Carolina Panthers.
And for me, definitely got gotta have Cam. I forgot about Cam Newton. That's how bad.
Forget about Cam.
I
He's
don't
still in the league.
I have no idea. Maybe because he's in his Patriots jersey or something. I don't know, but I forgot about Cam, and he's definitely on this list. Definitely Luke Kuechly has to be on here. Also, D'Angelo Williams needs to be on this list. As far as
I mean, technically, he's not even the leading rusher.
I mean, he's not.
He's
not. But considering the fact that the University of Memphis at the time was not producing first round picks,
I ain't gonna argue.
First round players.
I mean, it's your list, bro.
Go ahead, your list.
So
don't get me wrong. I had a D'Angelo Williams Carolina Panthers jersey. I had one. I probably still have it if I can go back to my parents' house and find it.
And then Steve Smith is one of my honorable mentions. So.
Okay. Now we have Eli and Greg right before we get to the break. Eli and Greg both had the same people for me as the Saints: Drew Brees, Ricky Jackson, Willie Roaf. And then it looks like they had the exact same list for the Panthers. They ended up including Cam Newton, but they had Luke Kuechly and Steve Smith as well. With Cam, man, it was hard. It was Julius Peppers or Cam, and I leaned to Julius Peppers. I just thought he was
can't go wrong with either one.
Fantastic DN, 17 years in the league, just great player, overall great player. But we'll come back on the other side and wrap up Hour 2 of Sports 56 Middays.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered, and they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Back to wrap up Hour 2 of Sports 56 Middays. Today, Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett, Zach Boyd producing the program. Just finished our NFL 3-for-all. We have a list from Bobby. He said for the Saints, Morton Anderson, Ricky Jackson, Drew Brees. And for the Panthers, Sam Mills, Steve Smith Sr., and Cam Newton.
Okay.
I feel like I'm getting a little, I might get a little heck for leaving Cam Newton off. Also on the First Bank text line 67129, yes, Jerry is cracking me up. Jerry didn't crack me up. He came on and insulted me. I'm not in. He's telling me to shut up.
He took a shot at you.
Jerry needs to calm the hell down is what he needs to do.
You just need to listen to the man. He's a billionaire.
No, Jerry needs to put some respect on our names.
Yeah.
He cannot come on
you don't
our
call
show
into my show and tell me
talk
to
to
shut
us
up
like that.
I can shut him up. He's on the phone line.
Yeah.
He's
right?
a millionaire, you guys.
I don't care if he's a millionaire, billionaire, trillion. I don't care.
I mean,
anyway,
it is true. His yacht is worth more than any
so
amount of money I will ever make
after this
in my
text, we're going to get to 2.5 questions. Somebody says, had a friend make it to the last day cut with the Panthers. He said trying to block Julius Peppers was the hardest thing he ever tried. He was an all SEC lineman. Yeah. I can tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, Julius Peppers was one of those basketball players turned football players, 6'7", 250,
so agile, too.
ridiculous, the athleticism he had. But right now, it's time for 2.5 questions.
Who, what, where, when, how, and why. Questions start with these. Step right up and answer all my questions, if you please.
I'm just a normal kid, like you, except that I ask questions. And because I'm brave enough to ask questions, I come under scrutiny.
Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions?
Now here is a question for you.
What does the fuck say?
Question number 1. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. Okay. Excluding this year, and I don't care about this year.
Mm-hmm.
How many times in the next 5 years does this Grizzlies team make the playoffs?
3. I'll say 3.
3 of 5 years?
I'll say 3 and 5.
Nice.
I will give him. I
think Grizzlies fans might like that.
If you can overachieve this year, I think you've got a great shot at
We are
making the
talking
playoffs.
Western Conference.
We are, but
And the Suns are coming along, it seems.
I can't trust that franchise.
Yeah, that is very true.
I mean,
I agree.
They're doing well right now in the bubble, but I doubt when it's all 82 that they'll be able to really make that big of a splash. Although, I mean, I like Ayton and Booker. I think they're two very good, young, talented players. But
Cam
I just
Johnson,
don't really.
Solid shooter.
Solid shooter. I mean, but I just can't trust that franchise not to screw it up. Until they don't screw it up, I just will always believe that they will.
They are a bubble masterpiece.
So I'm going to say 3 out of 5, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was over 3, just of how much they have overachieved this year.
Okay, so if you, I'm not making you pick this fully, but you think, are we talking bottom half seeds, 5 through 8, or 7 or 8? Are they ever going to get to the top half in these 5 years?
I'll say no.
Okay.
I'll say 5 through 8.
That's fair. Now, college football. For the teams playing fall football, I'm going to give you an over-under of games played, okay? And you're going to give me if you think it'll be over or under.
Okay.
So this is for the SEC, ACC, and all the group of 5 conferences playing. This is the AAC, everything involved.
Okay.
Over under 3.5 games played in the fall season.
That half hook is what's getting me.
Yep. They call me the odds maker.
Man, you need to get out of here and go work for Vegas with that one. I'm gonna say under.
Ooh, really? I thought you're a positive guy.
I like to be a positive Paul, and not a negative Nelly, as former Memphis Tiger coach Josh Pastner would say. And I try to always be optimistic. It costs just as much as being pessimistic. It's free. But the trends that everything's going in right now and everything that I'm hearing, like I said, I don't think it's time to close the door on it. I think we should push through. I just look at the data and the numbers myself, and even if we get through 1 or 2 weeks, we saw the explosion that happened in Major League Baseball where the Cardinals haven't even played in 2, almost 3 weeks now. We saw what happened with the Marlins, and there's just so much more contact, so much more physical contact in college football that if we even have close to a Cardinals situation, I think we have to shut it down.
And I think the point that needs to be made here is I feel like all the plans made by these conferences are not set in stone. They're just
They're not. Yeah.
They're there, but they're not actually, hey, we're going to play on this date.
This is
it's
100%
a no doubt
what's
going to happen.
Yes.
And, obviously Greg Sankey left the door open saying, I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, even Mike Oresco, did the exact same thing, saying we just don't feel like it's time. At this time we should make a permanent decision.
Yeah.
And be fluid with it and take the data and the facts as they come in and interpret them the best way you can. And hopefully I'm wrong, but just the trends that are going on right now makes me believe that even if we do get started, I'll say under 3.5.
Now, last question, and I think I know the answer to this.
Okay.
I really do. If you had one genre of movies to watch the rest of your life, what would that genre be?
Easy, rom-com.
Rom-com.
Loving the love.
Okay, and again, what is your favorite rom-com?
Oh, favorite rom-com.
Or do you have like a tie atop the leaderboard there?
Off the top of my head, favorite rom-com?
Yeah.
Would have to be The Wedding Singer.
Really?
Yeah, Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. I love anything those two are in.
Well, you like Adam 50 First Dates?
That's a good
her,
one.
right? That's
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. They're also in Blended together, which is a good one. I like that one. But I'd say probably
is Adam Sandler involved in the production of all these too? Is that why they always end up in the? How does that?
I think
work
50
out?
First Dates and
Convinced everyone
and
to get them together.
And Blended that he was in the production for. But Wedding Singer is probably one of my top 5 favorite movies. So I'd have to go with that one for sure. There's probably a couple others that can't even think of right now.
Very predictable answer. I just had to get it out there again. We always have to joke with
love,
it.
man. I've told you over and over
You're a
again.
sucker, huh?
I'm a sucker for a good love story.
Okay. On the other side, hour 3 is coming up. We have our top 5 songs with dark, darker, darkness, whatever the thought is. It has to be dark in the title. And then at 12:25, we're going to have Brian Fisher on. He's a national college football writer for Athlon Sports. We're going to talk about the uncertainty and the fluidity of the college football season. Make sure you get those top 5 songs in. We have a lot of lists. We're looking for a few more at 67129, the First Bank text line. Or you can get to us on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, Twitter, and we will read those aloud coming up. Hour 3 on Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
At Advance Auto Parts, we have same-day delivery, same-day contact-free curbside pickup, and same-day in-store pickup to keep you going. And we have the right oil, right filter, right price every day to keep your vehicle going. Get 5 quarts of full synthetic Valvoline, Mobile One, Pennzoil Platinum, or Castrol Edge with a Fram titanium oil filter for just $33.99. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaston for Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with a streak-free guarantee. They clean gutters, do pressure washing and house washing. They can also clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. Locally owned and operated, insured and bonded. Get your free estimate today and ask for the Sports 56 discount. Call 901-424-4100 and leave the dirty work to Window Genie.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimembrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Fiveash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett, Zach Boyd. Hour 3 of Sports 56 Middays. Greg and Eli will be back on Monday. But we have our top 5 songs coming up. This was a tough category, man. This was a really tough category. This took me a while.
I spent way too much time of prep
on
this.
And honestly, there was songs that I normally wouldn't have on a favorite song because I don't listen to some of the songs like normally, but they're not bad. My 5 and 4, they're not bad, but it's not normally in my list.
I don't know if they'd make a list in any other category.
And by the way, I do want to point this out because Greg made this mistake as well, and I see a couple people already on the text line making this mistake. Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd is not a song. It was their album. It was their album.
I almost made that mistake, and then I double-checked it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, but I don't blame you because it was a really good album. I mean, that's a fantastic album. Brain Damage was favorite on there, but it's a good one. I can see where you'd make the mistake, but got our top 5 songs here, and then at 12:25, Brian Fisher, a national college football writer from Athlon Sports, is going to join us to talk some college football. But who are we going to start with? Let's go with Drew. Let's start with you today on our top 5.
All right, my top 5. I spent over an hour of prep on this, way too much than I probably should have. This is definitely a hard category. I'll give an honorable mention because it's one of my favorite bands, but it's just not one of my favorite songs by them. I'll give an honorable mention to Dark Hollow by the Grateful Dead. Love the Dead, but just definitely not in the top 5 or top 10 situation of favorite songs right there. Number 5, In the Dark, Tracy Chapman.
Okay.
Number 4, Dark Skies, Alison Krauss. Number 3, my songs Know What You Did in the Dark, Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy.
Dude, that's a great song.
Go.
That is a great song. Number 2, Fishing in the Dark by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Almost number 1, but my number 1 is just too darn good.
I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired, man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby,
Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Just a great song.
Great song,
Great
Drew.
song.
The problem is, I imagine you in the morning singing this into your brush while you brush your hair.
It's on that morning playlist.
Right.
Just the
I
pumped
mean,
up, get ready for the
for
day.
the most part, this needs to end up on your list. We're gonna get to Zach here. I don't know if it'll be on his, but I think that's sort of a given. That's sort of a given.
Oh, it has to be.
But Zach, your turn.
Yeah, I can tell you right now that none of those songs are on my list.
Okay.
Just from the get-go. None of these songs.
Don't even like Tracy Chapman? Come on. Everybody likes Tracy Chapman.
He's cool,
Who's your
but
second? Who's your fourth?
Fourth, Alison Krauss.
Alison Krauss. Here you go.
Which
Don't have Alison Krauss.
No.
on there.
You're not a big bluegrass fan, Zach? You're telling me you don't like bluegrass music.
no, I like blues music, but it's just not on my list.
Bluegrass, it's different than
I
blues.
like bluegrass.
Bluegrass, blues. It's not on the list that I can think of.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's rock.
Number 5. My number 5 is Darkness by Eminem.
Okay.
Number 4 is Footsteps in the Dark. That's by the Isley Brothers. If you didn't know, if you listen to like the beginning part of the song, it was sampled by Ice Cube for his for Good Day.
Okay.
So that's where Ice Cube got it from.
Okay. Thank you.
Didn't
know that.
Yeah, little knowledge for you guys.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Number 3, it is Dark Sky by Big Sean off his Dark Sky Paradise album.
Okay.
Number 2 is Dark Horse by Katy Perry. And then my number 1 song.
Chi-town with a nice flow. And my chick in that new Phoebe Philo. So much I woke up in Sleepy Hollow. Can we get much higher?
So high.
Look like a fat booty Celine Dion.
So this is Dark Fantasy by Kanye
Good
West.
choice. I forgot about
Great.
this,
I actually
man.
forgot about that one too.
Honorable mention. I'd have
forgot about
to
it.
throw that in there, man. That has to be one
That
of
was
my
a good
honorable
one.
I'm kind of upset. I forgot the beginning part. I forgot I played this song earlier, and I forgot to kind of set it at the beginning part. A little bit because Nicki's on this song, so Nicki Minaj.
We know who you're saying.
Yeah, I'm
We
just
get it.
clarifying for everybody else that is not aware of her work.
Whose work?
Nicki Minaj. You know.
Oh.
I think
I
everybody
know
knows
that,
who
yeah.
Nicki Minaj is by now.
Everyone knows Nicki Minaj. How about that? Speaking of women rappers, you heard the new song by who's it? Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion?
Oh yeah, I'm down. I'm with that.
Okay.
The video is
For sure.
That was something.
The video is the weirdest thing I've seen in a
But
long
you've
time.
watched it like several times.
I've seen it a couple of times, but like,
Yeah, it's been on my timeline a couple of
Why
times.
is Kylie Jenner even in the video? Like, I don't get that. Like, that's one
Woman
of the weirdest
empowerment,
parts
dude.
of me.
What are you talking about?
I don't
I don't
Like,
know.
what does
That
she
maybe they
add
like
to
her.
it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, as soon as you saw it, you said, "Oh, that's Kylie Jenner."
Yeah, I did.
That's
I was
why
like,
she's in it. I
Kylie
guess.
Jenner's in here. Okay.
I was just confused. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that song. I did.
It's, it is not an FCC appropriate song to be played.
No, but the reactions to it have been pretty funny. For those that don't know, it's
quite
WAP,
explicit.
WAP, right? Is that
Yes.
is that where WAP or WAP?
I think
What do we
it's
call it?
I think it's WAP.
I'm not
Or
going
maybe
to say
WAP.
what
I
that
don't know.
stands for, but if you go look it up, you can go look it
figure it
up.
out.
If you have young eyes, stay away from it. I'll
In
say
young
that.
ears, don't.
Young ears
No,
too. Young,
goodness gracious.
young ears.
I mean,
Viewer
I'm
discretion.
I'm almost 26,
is
and I was
advised.
listening to it, going, "Oh my, oh my! I should not be listening to such lyrics."
Okay, well, time for mine, right?
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
5. Dark Horse, Katy Perry and Juicy J. This ended up on there. Not a huge fan of the song, but I forgot about.
I like the Juicy J part. I do like that part. I like his
Katy
little
Perry. Come on,
verse, but
you like a Katy Perry song.
What's your disdain towards Katy Perry?
Oh, I don't have any
You like
disdain
some
towards
Katy Perry songs.
I mean, California Girls.
There you
oh,
go.
Just great. Her and Snoop. I mean, phenomenal. I'm not a big Roar fan. I don't really like that song. Black and White, or is that what it's called? One of her first hits. I Kissed a Girl and I liked it.
That's a good one. I forgot about that one.
It's a good Katy
good
Perry
one.
song. But Dark Horse, like I said, I like Juicy J in it, but this whole song in general just doesn't really do it for me.
You know, Drew, I just had trouble with this. So
I did too.
It is what it is. 4, Dancing in the Dark, Bruce Springsteen. 3, I'm surprised. Drew, you didn't have this, dude. Tom Petty, The Dark of the Sun?
I didn't. It was close.
I figured you'd be. You're a Tom
I'm
Petty
a big
guy,
Tom
right?
Petty guy. Oh, yeah.
It's hard not to be a
Rocker's own Tom Petty.
It's hard not to be a Tom Petty guy. 2, I went Dark Side of the Moon, Lil Wayne. It's off Carter 5. It's his most recent
Thought about
stuff.
that as well.
I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan.
I don't know. Anything past the Carter 3, I just kind of lost interest. In
Oh,
Lil
get
Wayne.
out of here.
Dude, the Carter
Get
3 is
outta
the greatest
here,
album.
man.
Carter 3 is one of the greatest rap albums
but like,
of
let's
all
not
time.
act like everything went to trash. I
I
hate when
didn't,
people act
but
like that.
it didn't like meet it. It didn't match it. You know, like the Carter 3 was just boom, and then everything else is like right underneath.
Is meh. All right, number 1. This is one of my favorite bands.
Coming down to the light of day, we got many moons that are deep in place. So I keep an eye on the shadow smile to see what it has to say. You and I both know everything must go away. What do you say? Spinning out that is on my heart. It's like a bitter light in a touch of dark. You got sneak attack from the zodiac, but I see your eyes spark. Keep the breeze and go, blow by blow and go away.
Dark Necessities.
That's a good
Red
song.
Hot Chili Peppers. This is sort of their newer work, right? This was an album in 2016 that they put out. Dark Necessities, Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. They have
good list. Good job.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Except
job,
for Dark
Zach.
Horse.
Everybody did a good job.
You don't agree with Dark Horse.
I said I have nothing against Katy Perry or Juicy J, and I like the Juicy J's part, but the whole song in general just doesn't do it for me.
We're gonna try to play that song out.
That's fine. You
No,
can play it.
no,
out.
I'm
Like,
just playing. I'm just
It's not
playing.
gonna
I'm
hurt my
just
feelings. I'm not
playing.
gonna slam down my
the
headset or anything. I like the song. It's just not like that great of a song to me.
So before we get to our listeners, 67129 First Bank text line, and on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you are listening or watching us on and messaging us on, we have to get to the normal host of the show, Greg and Eli. Now, Greg went 5, Darkness on the Edge of Town, Bruce Springsteen. And then 4 followed it up with Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springsteen.
Well,
and we know how big
Greg feels
he's
about Bruce Springsteen.
Huge Springsteen guy. 3, and this is one I definitely considered, Shot in the Dark, Ozzy Osbourne. Then he goes, and this week is like the 1 week we've had a couple mentions of Cher. Okay, he went Dark Lady by Cher at 2, and then number 1 he went On the Dark Side by John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
I'm not familiar with their
Yeah,
work.
that's Greg. Greg always comes with the ones are always.
At least it's not a Mark Lindsay sighting.
Oh God, not Mark Lindsay, man. Please.
I mean, I know you.
Paul Revere and the Raiders. I have heard more about Paul Revere and the Raiders than any time in my life since I've been producing the show for Greg.
You and Eli give me a hard time about the fact that I do like Rascal Flatts, but at least I'm not out here trying to defend Paul Revere and Mark Lindsay.
Hey, look, Paul Revere and the Raiders is fine, but Mark Lindsay, nuh-uh. And the funniest thing was when I looked at the album cover he had of the song he picked. It is bell-bottom jeans.
Arizona was the song?
Yeah, Arizona.
Mark Lindsay,
It's
Arizona.
Mark Lindsay is sitting in a field on like this like stump with like wheatgrass coming up in bell-bottom jeans and a orange, massive, thick turtleneck, and he's got like the bowl cut Ringo Starr thing going, and I lost it. I'm like, this is the guy. This is who you listen to, but I digress. Now, Eli went a little different. Lot of the same though. He went 5, Shot in the Dark, Ozzy Osbourne. 4, Icy Darkness, Johnny Cash. 3, On the Dark Side, Greg's 1, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. 2, Dancing in the Dark, Bruce Springsteen. And then this is one that I have a feeling is going to be very popular on the text line, Fishing in the Dark, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
It was number 2. It was a close number 2 because that's one of my, I'd say, top 10 favorite country songs right there.
Who?
You got to play that one.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it to the break. We'll do it to the break.
Who?
The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Fishing in the Dark, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Okay.
It might be the only song. It might be the only song of theirs that I know off the top of my head, though. So like, probably like a country one-hit wonder.
You don't know Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. You don't know Ricky Jackson.
Oh goodness gracious! We're gonna have to send you back to school.
No, it's not about sending me back to school. I never heard of these
Virtual
guys
learning for
before.
you. You're going right into the classroom, son.
Yeah, no, they canceled all my classes, so I can't go. So sorry.
All right, here we go. Now to the First Bank text line 67129. Downtown Leo sends in a list. 5, Sleeps Dark and Silent Gate, Jackson Brown. 4, Rainbow in the Dark by Ronnie James Dio, I'm assuming. 3, Dancing in the Dark by Springsteen. 2, Fishing in the Dark, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And 1, On the Dark Side, Eddie and the Cruisers. Gives an honorable mention to whatever Bee Gees song Greg listed.
No,
No Bee Gees
the Bee
today.
Gees aren't that bad.
No,
They're
but
not
no
that
Bee
bad.
Gees today. No Bee Gees. Although I saw it coming. He's had the Bee Gees quite a bit on his lists. From Zed. Zed says, 5, In the Dark, Flyleaf. Definitely not familiar with that. Zed always comes with some eclectic choices. 4, Dark Horse, Katy Perry. Thank you, Zed. Thank you for the agree right there. Thank you for agreeing.
Like I said, it's not a terrible song. It just doesn't make it into my top 5.
3, On the Dark Side, Eddie and the Cruisers. 2, Fishing in the Dark, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And 1, Rainbow in the Dark by Ronnie James Dio. Now, I have Jason's here. We're going to have to try to get this one. Jason says 5, In the Dark, Toots and the Maytals. Toots and the Maytals.
No, I'm not familiar with their work either.
Neither am I. 4, Fishing in the Dark. 3, My Dark Hour, Steve Miller Band. 2, Dark Hollow, Grateful Dead. Great choice. I should have put it on mine. 1, Dark as a Dungeon by David. Is it Gree or Griss? Gree, Griss? Gris?
I'm thinking that's an I, so I'm going to say Griss.
Okay. Well, what do you mean I? So you're going to say it's what?
Well, I'm trying to read it.
I'm going to say Griss.
Okay.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Bobby from Midtown. Honorable mention, Dark-Eyed Cajun Woman by the Doobie Brothers. And The Dark End of the Street by Linda Ronstadt. 5, Edge of Darkness, Greta Van Vliet. 4, Rainbow in the Dark. 3, Darkness on the Edge of Town. 2, Slippin' Into Darkness by War. And 1, Alone in the Dark by John Hyatt. You need to go check that out. I'm not against John Hyatt.
No.
Let's see, whose list is this? No name. But we have 5, Tall Dark Stranger, Buck Owens. 4, Footsteps in the Dark, the Isley Brothers. There you go. There we go.
Good job.
I'm for that.
Yeah.
3, Dark Knight, the Blasters.
Don't know the Blasters.
I'm not. Neither am I. Not familiar. 2, Darkness on the Edge of Town. And 1, Dark End of the Street by James Carr. We have honorable mention to Making Love at the Dark End of the Street by Clarence Cart. Clarence Cart.
That doesn't sound safe.
At the dark end of the street. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. Someone else says, does Drew have a Dairy Boys name? See, this is middays.
I never got a Dairy.
This isn't mornings. This isn't mornings.
To answer the question, no, I never was honored with the Dairy Boys name.
And we have a couple people come in, and we did try to get this squared away. Dark Side of the Moon is not a song. It is an album by Pink Floyd. It is an album by Pink Floyd, but people did say that. Someone says Nitty Gritty Dirt Band is like the Zeppelin of traditional country. Easy for me to say.
Wait, I don't feel like that's a good comparison. I mean,
hey, I'm just reading.
I know 1,000 Led Zeppelin songs. I know 1 Nitty Gritty Dirt Band song. And while, yes, it is on my list, and at that number 2, and it is a great song, I don't think the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band should ever be in the same sentence as Led Zeppelin.
Okay, David Grissom. It got cut off. Dark as a Dungeon by David Grissom is what they were trying to send in to us. Okay. There we go. It gets cut off on here. I apologize for the confusion. Someone says Toots and the Maytals are reggae legends. Bobby from Midtown says Alone in the Dark by John Hyatt is in the iconic scene in the Schwarzenegger movie True Lies when Jamie Lee Curtis is stripping for him. Is that why you like it? Bobby? Is that why you like it? But anyway, Nico comes in. Thank you, Nico, for coming in with your Tori Amos reference.
I was about to say, there's got to be a
late.
Tori Amos.
He says he came late again. He will be prepared tomorrow. I hope you are. I need more Tori Amos in my life. But he goes, Dark Side of the Sun. Dark Side of the Sun
Is
by
that
Tori
possible?
Amos. No, it's not.
No, I don't think there's a dark side.
There's not a dark side of the sun. There is one
Pretty
of the moon.
sure it's fully round.
And there's
bright
one of the
on all
earth, if
sides.
you didn't know. There's one on the earth. There's a dark side of the earth, too.
Yeah, it's called nighttime.
Yeah.
I know.
Did you learn? Do you know it rotates?
Yeah. Goes in a circle.
In a
circle.
in a circle.
Rotates and then goes in a circle. That's how days and years work.
Let's see. Facebook. We have from Carolyn. Carolyn, I'm sorry, I can't put this one in there. She says Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
Nope.
Album. It's an album. She says Slipping into Darkness by War. Carolyn does come in with great lists, though, so I don't,
Hey, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost did, too.
I almost did,
mean,
too.
when I
Greg
did
almost did, too.
On the initial list, I just wrote down Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, and then I went and double-checked everything. I was like, oh, that's the album. That's not even a song.
We're going Darkness Settles In, Five Finger Death Punch.
Good
Fishing in the Dark, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And then Kiss Me in the Dark, Randy Rogers Band. Okay. John comes in normally. We always have our normals here on Facebook.
Yes.
John says Shot in the Dark by Ozzy. Rainbow in the Dark by Dio. Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd is not a song.
Nope.
But he replaced it with the.
Everyone made it. Everyone made it.
Yeah.
Everyone made that mistake.
But he replaced it with the Dark Side of the
Yeah.
Moon with
Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
He said,
Iron
no.
Maiden. Yeah.
Yeah, with Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. He replaced that with Dancing in the Dark by Springsteen and Dark Night by Dave Alvin. It was in the movie Dusk Till Dawn, he says. Okay. All right.
Any more Facebook lists?
Yeah, we have Bobby. 5, Smoke Rings in the Dark by Gary Allen. 4, I've got a dark alley and a bad idea that says you should shut your mouth.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. All right.
All Out Boy. 3, thank you, Bobby. Dark Horse, Katy Perry, Juicy J.
I don't know why you're yelling at me. I like the song. It's just not a top 5.
Woo!
It's a good song. It's just not great to me.
All right, here we go. 2, Dancing in the Dark, and 1, Fishing in the Dark. And then we have an honorable mention for Darktown Strutter's Ball by Lawrence Welk. It's interesting. And we go back to the text line.
Sounds like a drag.
Someone
No
said-
offense.
someone
Like
says
that shouldn't be in the. I
Someone
hope it's
says
not
Clarence
in the offense.
Carter is the song earlier. Let's find where I cut this off.
Yeah, what'd you-
Let's see. Clarence Carter. I said Clarence Carter. Oh, yeah. Making Love at the End of a Dark Street by Clarence Carter. It does cut it. I mean, it happens
It's not
from
our
time to
fault,
time.
people.
Nothing
We
we
do
can
know
do.
how to read.
Dark Lady by Cher. Someone comes in and then said, when someone said a Tracy Chapman song, I liked it when Zach said he's okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to call you out, but Tracy Chapman's a woman. There, bud.
She's okay.
Okay.
Like, to let you know how much I know about Tracy Chapman.
Oh, you've had to have heard Fast Cars and
fantastic.
I mean,
good stuff.
What's the other really, really well-known song by Tracy Chapman? Let me look it up real quick.
Oh, I thought you was gonna ask me, and I'm like, I don't know.
No, give me 1 second. Phone coming here.
Cause I'm more than sure I've heard a couple of her songs, but it just
Give me
don't
one reason.
register.
Yeah, you've had to have heard Give Me One Reason.
Give me one reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I can't confirm or deny that, but
All right. Well, roll the Fishing in the Dark. We got to get
Yeah,
your
roll
break.
it. I want to hear this real quick. Okay. Well, we don't have it right this second.
Zach. One job, bro. One job.
He'll get it going. But great list today.
Good job.
It
What's
was-
the
it was
category for tomorrow?
The category for tomorrow. Now,
Please make
bear
it
with
easier
me.
than this.
Bear with me. This
Don't
could
make me
be
fit
easy.
an hour.
This could be hard. This could be hard. This could be easy. But I'm going to allow exceptions. I'm going to go jewelry, an item of jewelry. Now, the other thing we can do here is ring in any form for me.
Okay.
Right? Can be used. Right? So I'm going jewelry. But if you bring in ring, like smoke ring or something like that, I'll
But not ringing.
No, not ring.
Just
It's
ring
got to be
or
jewelry,
bracelet,
or
necklace.
ring, basically.
Okay,
right?
that gives me a lot of options.
Yeah, right. It's
I'm
not
with that.
horrible. So jewelry, an item of jewelry for tomorrow is going to be
turn it up.
Going to be what we got. But we're going to get to a break here. Come back with Brian Fisher on the state of college football. He's the national college football writer for Athlon Sports. Take us to the break.
Baby, get ready. Across the field where the creek turns back by the old stumble road, I'm gonna take you to a special place that nobody knows. Baby, get ready.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
I'm giving Jeb's Basement Renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Napa know-how. Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping on over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
I'm here with outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaston for Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with a streak-free guarantee. They clean gutters, do pressure washing and house washing. They can also clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. Locally owned and operated, insured and bonded. Get your free estimate today and ask for the Sports 56 discount. Call 901-424-4100 and leave the dirty work to Window Genie.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Pour me something tall and strong, make it a hurricane before I
Rolling right along, hour 3. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett in for Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. They will be back on Monday. They took a brief hiatus to take care of some business. Is it 5 o'clock? Yeah, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. Brian Fisher will join us in just a moment to talk the state of college football, as we are in some very, very, very weird times at the moment. But I wanted to just get this out there really quick about the NFL. Dr. Alan Sills, the NFL's chief medical officer, reported the following data. Okay, and he said through Tuesday, the league has conducted 109,075 COVID-19 tests. That is a lot of tests. The positivity rate was 0.46%, including all players, coaches, and staffers. The player positivity rate has been 0.81%. And during the initial intake process, the league tested 9,983 people. The positivity rate for those tests was 1.7 overall and 1.9%. For players, and it's all about control. And I think we're going to hopefully try and get that done at the college level as well. But he is Brian Fisher. Brian Fisher joins us. He writes columns for Athlon Sports on Twitter at Brian Fisher. Brian, how are you today, man? It's been a quiet couple days for you, huh?
Oh, yeah, so quiet.
Nothing's going on.
Yeah, there's nothing in the world going on, right?
Exactly.
Gosh, man, college football is stressing me out. I will tell you what. I am in a really, really weird spot with trying to deal with all the people trying to blame Kevin Warren for his decision making. It's just it's a weird time, and people need to sort of respect the decisions made at the top. And what do you think though of the Pac-12 and Big Ten deciding to make the decision they did? And do you think the spring season is a feasible thing?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of expected, both conferences really to arrive at this decision. And keep in mind that, it's been almost 6 weeks since the Ivy League, kind of really stepped out and did the same thing. So the MAC has done this. This is, really a ball rolling down the hill at this point. And I don't think there was any surprise necessarily when either of those conferences made their decision. But obviously being the first two Power 5 leagues, that's going to cause some ripples. And I think, certainly when you talk with coaches, and we saw Jeff Brom present a pretty detailed plan about spring football today. I would imagine there's going to be a lot more debate over that because, you talk with the administrators the last month or two, they all kind of downplayed playing in the spring and saying, well, it's really a last resort. Well, we're at the last resort right now. And so now it's time to really kind of button those hatches and figure out a plan for spring if we can get there.
So we talk about the feasibility of a spring season, but we neglect to sort of mention, like, do we even think, and maybe they'll play a game in the fall. Maybe it happens. But do we even think at this point that a fall season can go off without a hitch?
I don't, and I think even Bob Bowlesby on his conference call yesterday, kind of said, we're expecting that. We, as much as we want to start on time and we want to move through the season and hopefully not have to start and stop, they're almost resigned to expecting that some team is going to have an outbreak, some school is going to have an outbreak, something is going to happen, and I think if you're planning, if you're in a position of being an administrator or a coach, you have to plan for that, certainly. But it definitely makes those decisions a little bit more complicated, and I think is also contributed to the reasons why, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 kind of stood out and said, we're going to push this to the spring and make our decisions then.
Yeah, and while this is just such a confusing time, and nobody knows what tomorrow is going to bring, let alone the beginning of next month in September when we actually strap them on and get ready to play these games. But for the conferences that have decided that they're going to go to the spring, how much of an effect do you think that will have on players transferring out, trying to get on rosters that might be on the edge of draft guys and don't really want to take a risk of playing in the spring and think that the best option is to transfer somewhere right now?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because, you look at certainly can some of these guys transfer that maybe have already graduated, they're going into their, graduate year. Maybe they do kind of explore that. I know some people have already entered the transfer portal. I think coaches have reached out through intermediaries to kind of gauge interest in a couple of, conference players that are not going to be playing in this fall. But it's still kind of unknown, and I think we saw some aspects of the NCAA kind of addressing the eligibility thing. Obviously in January we should have the one-time transfer legislation coming down the pipe and being voted on. So that's another aspect for a lot of these players to consider. I think it's just everything is so up in the air right now that a lot of these players. Yeah, you can make a decision and say you want to transfer, but getting into school, getting everything buttoned up before the fall season kicks off, it's going to be difficult to do. And so while you could see one or two players try to make it work, I don't think this is going to be some massive changes with guys moving across the country and moving around like some expected when we kind of had this dichotomy between the fall and the spring.
Yeah, and obviously everything's not just going to be hunky-dory next year, regardless of how this year is going to turn out. This year is going to affect many years down the road of how football is played, and especially scholarships and eligibility and all that. I mean, we just got a guy last week, quarterback that transferred from LSU to the University of Memphis. I don't think he was planning for Brady White for this football season not to happen, and for Brady White to be back instead of him being that starting quarterback here for the Memphis Tigers. So how much is this affecting recruiting? I mean, not just for the 2021 class, but in the future, because we don't know how many scholarships are going to be available at the time.
Yeah, I think that's something that is definitely being looked into, and I think you'll start to see stuff out of the Football Oversight Committee, certainly the D1 Council, some of these other NCAA apparatuses in terms of addressing the numbers question. And I know a lot of coaches are going to be very interested in seeing how that's going to play out, because we all know roster management as is difficult in this day and age with all the transfers, transfer portal itself, with guys coming in and whether they're initial counters, whether they're grad transfers, all that. It's already difficult to kind of manage that roster of A5, and to add this onto it is going to really, kind of cause a lot of, retrospection in terms of what's going on in their programs, who's ready to play, who's willing to play, who's moving forward with their programs, and it's all going to be a giant headache for a lot of these coaches to kind of sort out. When they ultimately kind of get some guidance in terms of what their numbers can be, not only this year but going forward.
So along with the eligibility questions, I think, has to come the college football playoff questions, the questions about in a fall season if it goes off, if they don't get stopped, how do you select a champion? What do you think the options for that might be, given that the non-conference slate will be very, very, very small?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Bill Hancock, whenever he's made some public comments, the executive director of the playoff has been, pretty consistent in saying whatever happens, the selection committee is going to meet and do their job, essentially select the 4 best teams that they see. And I think ultimately, though, at the end of the day, there's a meeting next week among the conference commissioners in terms of setting the direction of the playoff, whether it's postponing it, whether it's pushing things back. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the Rose Bowl this year is one of the semifinals, and as it stands in LA County, that game really cannot be played. As it stands right now, and so I think there are a lot of issues to work through. Certainly, the conference commissioners are going to try to focus, necessarily on these next couple of weeks, and then how that playoff picture is kind of sorted out is definitely going to be very interesting, but I imagine there's going to be some sort of consensus reached to either push those games back, to either push the title back, maybe incorporate the spring. It's just really all kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah, nobody knows how well this thing's going to go, but let's say that the 6 conferences that are set to play in the fall actually get to play in the fall. With 2 of the Power 5 out, do you think that this is the best chance for a team from the American, who's clearly head and shoulders above the other group of 5s, to make the playoff?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody were to, in an ideal season and everything kind of gets pulled off with a hitch, and somebody runs the table in the AAC, I think you could definitely see some strong consideration to get be included in one of those 4 teams, and probably stronger than other years. But I think, when you look at what the committee is tasked to do, the non-conference picture, not having any idea in terms of how really strong the AAC is, they're going to be diving into the metrics. They're going to be diving into some of the minute details and looking at those right tackles and how they perform against some of the top edge rushers in the conference, and looking at the depth that a program might have and how explosive their playmakers are. And I'm sure that would all get debated in the committee room. And how is that going through the season undefeated compared to a 1 or 2 loss SEC team, for example? So, I think there's a decent chance, but in the vacuum of the 2020 season, really, I think it's pretty easy to say who knows at this point.
The consensus thought, and I think it's very, very fair, is that college football's leadership has ultimately failed. What say you about that? Have we put ourselves in a terrible position, or was the leadership just a complete failure through these 5 months they could have had to plan for a different season, for a spring season, what have you?
Well, I think you look at the sport as much as it's become very national the last really 2 decades, kind of dating back through the creation of the BCS and certainly the playoffs. The fact of the matter is it's still an intensely regional sport. It is every conference for themselves, every school for themselves, really. And as much as they kind of band together and do make decisions collectively as a conference, certainly everybody's tied into the playoff system, not only financially, but in terms of the board of governors and the meetings and all that stuff. They do have some commonalities, but at the end of the day, as we've seen the last week or so, it really is every conference for themselves, and that's reflective of the state of college football. I know a lot of coaches and administrators have grumbled about lack of leadership out of the NCAA and particularly Mark Emmert, but at the end of the day, that's not a sport that they really govern in terms of its direction on the field. They make some rules here and there, and some governance issues like that. But in terms of how the season is played, they're very hands off on that, and so I think their hands are kind of tied in terms of what they can do. You would have liked to have seen more, certainly, but at the end of the day, this is the system everybody kind of agreed to, and that lack of leadership is for a long time was a feature and not a bug. But we kind of figured out that it definitely is an Achilles heel for the sport in times like these.
Yeah, it is. And do you think that this kind of is the perfect storm for maybe we get to the 5 super conferences, 80 teams creating their own league and actually having a college football commissioner? Do you think that what we've seen with the lack of leadership here is the right push that a lot of these conferences and universities need to ultimately go forward with a plan like that?
I think there's definitely going to be a lot of talk about that over the next couple weeks, months, years, and whatnot. But at the end of the day, the Power Five really can do what it wants governance-wise within the NCAA structure as well. The folks in Indianapolis, for as much as they kind of get thrown under the bus, they're really kind of doing their jobs in terms of creating the rules and the bylaws and all that stuff. And if the Group of Five wanted to change them, they could very easily do so. And so recreating what they essentially already have, I don't see that being very realistic in terms of breaking away and all that. They're not sharing that much money with the others, and certainly there's a lot of prestige and success that comes with being a part of the NCAA in terms of those cross-country championships, certainly the men's basketball tournament, women's basketball, water polo, whatever. Those athletic departments like being part of the NCAA for that part. Now, could you see some leadership changes at the top and some structural changes maybe within even within the FBS? Yeah, I could see some tweaks here and there. But in terms of the breakaway, I still don't think we're getting closer to that. As much as that's going to get debated over the next couple of months.
Speaking of those leadership changes, and I don't know if you knew this, Brian, but I played ball over at the University of Memphis under Justin Fuente, Mike Norvell. But I always wondered, in times like this, would it make a lot more sense for these players? The We Want to Play movement was very prevalent here this week. Is it about time that they sort of have a chance to sit at the table and have these discussions and maybe unionize? Is that part of maybe a leadership change from the top down?
Yeah, I think something certainly is going to end up happening and coming out of this player movement. I don't foresee necessarily a union, but I know there's been a lot of talk about a players association and something similar. And I think with the name, image, and likeness coming down the pipe in January, there's going to be something similar to that emerge, and we've kind of seen these early stages of that. And to the NCAA's credit, they have included players. There's player representatives on the Division I Council. The Student Athlete Advisory Committee has a number of members at a lot of these committees and take part in those discussions with athletic directors and presidents and the like. And so they have been involved, but the players are going to have a much greater say in terms of what happens in their respective sports, how they're going to get paid going forward, how really the NCAA is going to conduct business, I think is definitely going to get a lot more player input, certainly over the next couple of months, and especially so come January.
He is Brian Fisher, at Brian D. Fisher. That's SCH in Fisher on Twitter. Works for Athlon Sports, writes columns, covers a lot of college football. Brian, thanks so much, man. Very insightful. You stay safe, and hopefully we can keep up with all this madness, man.
Absolutely. Great to be on with you guys.
All right. Talk to you down the road. Brian Fisher. We're going to come back on the other side and have one final thing right here on Sports 56 Middays.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Finding the next job is a big job, and that part of what you do is a little tough right now. Because of that, Lowe's for Pros is here to help. Get $400 in leads on us with a free 1-year subscription from Home Advisor to connect to jobs that make sense for you. Sign up at lowesforpros.com/pro-loyalty to get started. Just one more reason why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Now let's get to work. Subscription and $400 lead credit subject to Home Advisor's approval and terms. Valid for new Home Advisor customers only. Lowe's loyalty required. More terms apply. Valid through 9/9 U.S. only.
I'm giving Jeb's Basement Renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Couple of texts here on the First Bank text line 67129. We have somebody chiming in. Looks like Portland will be playing Phoenix in the playoffs. That is a negative outlook for the Grizzlies. Yeah, but hey.
Come on,
you're
you negative
entitled.
Nelly.
You're entitled.
Only one game has started, and that's just the
what we have update?
No update. I think there's only just one game started. I think it's the Celtics and the Nets.
Yeah, nothing.
No. Oh no,
they're not playing.
I'm wrong.
Say this. The Celtics and the Wizards.
Yeah.
74-73 in the third. Boston. But yeah, that is a negative outlook. Somebody else says, who is going to sit outside in January, February, and March for football? That is a great question. I don't know if we'll have fans anyway, by the way. I don't think you have to worry about it because I don't know if we'll have fans. But I don't know how many players are very excited to go out there in that kind of cold weather. Someone else says, Tracy Chapman is the best male vocalist out there.
Oh, she really
In
is.
honor of Zach.
I mean, like, I didn't know who the person is, so.
It's cool. It happens.
Sorry.
There's a lot of musicians out there. You can't keep up with them all.
I mean, I knew
No,
Stevie.
it's all good.
Like, I knew Stevie Nicks is a woman, but sorry for not knowing
glad
about
you know
Tracy
Stevie
Chapman.
Nicks is a woman.
It's all. Hey. Just,
Sorry.
It's cool, bro.
Just let it slide off. It's okay. Let it slide off. Another person asks, what is the real name of that Pink Floyd song that included when they sing The Dark Side of the Moon? I'm confused.
Is it Comfortably Numb?
No, Brain Damage.
Brain Damage.
Brain Damage
Okay.
is the song off Dark Side of the Moon that mentions the dark side of the moon.
Of the moon. Yeah, all right. Time now for one final thing.
Oh, Zach!
One job, man.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
Do I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, my one final thing. Just now being reported about 30 minutes ago, Cardinals and White Sox will not play on Friday. Their games have been moved to a doubleheader on Saturday after MLB Network's John Heyman has reported that a Cardinals coach has tested positive for COVID-19, promoting the postponement of the White Sox game. The Cardinals were one negative test away from being able to go back on the field. So I highly doubt they definitely will not be playing today against Detroit. Definitely will not be playing against White Sox on Friday, and I highly doubt they'll even be able to play Saturday.
I am sick of this,
doubleheader
man.
against this on Saturday.
Is it about time to cut them out?
I think it is.
Look, I'm
You're
a huge
out
Cardinals
of time.
fan, and they just can't get it right. John Mozeliak and the higher ups in that organization didn't want to use the taxi squad. I'm sorry. It seems like it's about time. But out of the NFL, we have a signing, a huge, historical NFL signing for tight ends. The 49ers have extended George Kittle. We know how good he is in the run game and the pass game, one of the best tight ends in the league. Dang near, I think, by the end of his career. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but he could be one of the best ever. 5 years, $75 million, $30 million guaranteed at signing, $40 million guaranteed in full. It's for injury, the $40 million. It was first reported by Barstool Sports. This is by far, easily, I think it doubles any other contract that we're looking at for a tight end in the NFL, and I think it's very, very, very deserved when you look at George Kittle out of Iowa. Great blocker, great pass catcher, done so much for Jimmy G, done so much for that 49ers franchise over the past couple years. You
always got to secure the bag.
Secure.
That's the number one goal, is to make sure you secure your bag.
Are we going to go? Are we saying stats and money over championships?
No, I'm not saying stats and money over championships, but I mean, like, if you're considering the nature of the NFL, the sport of NFL, like, you got to get your money, because you just don't know how long you're gonna play.
And especially with the way that George Kittle plays, this is definitely great for him. In the world of the MLB, Joe Kelly's suspension has been reduced, not by much, 8 games to 5 games for throwing at the heads at the Astros hitters. And why do I keep seeing? Okay, whenever I read a story about it, it makes me mad. Why do we keep calling it a brawl? Like what?
Nothing
why
happened.
is
It was a
brawl?
gentleman's standoff.
It was a squabble.
It's a gentleman's disagreement.
They just yelled at each other. It was stupid. I mean, it all bark, no bite. It was not a brawl. I'm tired of hearing about it. But the MLB also, if you didn't know, is mulling over their bubble playoff format, and they're looking at a similar thing to the NHL, 3 hub cities, because of the 16 team expansion, so they would have to have 3 hub cities instead of 2 like the NHL, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it is too. Before we get out of here, also know that Eli is big on national days. So today is National Left-Handers Day. Shout out to all my fellow lefties.
Lefty.
Shout out to my dad.
Shout out Phil
lefties.
Mickelson.
And it's also It's also South Park Day.
South Park?
South Park's first aired.
Are you a South Park fan?
23 years ago today.
You a South Park fan?
Oh yeah, love South Park.
Really?
Oh,
I've never.
What?
No, I like it. I thought the movie was hilarious. I never really. It's just very, very. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I love it.
You can admit it's a lot.
No, it is a lot
to deal with.
I mean, it's a lot, but I like it.
Yeah, I
23 years old today, South Park.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Coming up next, Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. I'd like to thank Joe Molinax and also Brian Fisher for their contributions to the show. Tomorrow we're going to have a nice little loaded show. We're going to talk high school football with Gene Robinson, a coach that I actually coach for now. And then he's in Shelby County Schools over at Germantown. He's a 2-time 3A Coach of the Year for his time at Fairleigh. We're going to talk to him about what Shelby County Schools is up to right now. I could tell you, but he knows a little bit more. Other than that, we're working on a few other things. So we will see you tomorrow. For Zach, for Drew, I'm Gabe. We'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow.